All right, we wait for the magical land of YouTube to give us a signal. Let us verify. And we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Reality Skewed Gamers Jedi Academy. Glad to have you guys here on a Saturday morning. And this stream is designed to do one thing: answer your questions about Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, the mobile game brought to you by Capital Games. I'm your man with the plan, Ranger J 1999, and the way the show works is we have content creators from all different walks of life come on here, and we do nothing for the next 2 hours but answer your questions. If you have a question you want to pose, all you have to do is put the word question in front of your actual question, comment, or statement, and we get that scooped up. That's the best way to do it, so I can actually check your question. If you don't, I might miss it, and that's not me, that's you. That's a you thing. So make sure you aren't doing the things that you're not supposed to help me out to scoop up your questions. So welcome, good morning to everybody on a Saturday morning. Glad to have you guys here. I am still sick as dog shit because allergies, man, led to a sinus infection. So I'm just sitting here sounding like I've been doing lines of coke for the last three weeks. It's miserable. And I've had hardly any sleep, but I don't care. Show must go on. Now, we can see we got all the sandfly, the biggest sandfly on the beach, joining us. How are you
Good day,
this
good
morning?
day.
Good day to you,
I'm
sir.
very good, very good. I enjoyed my GAC earlier on. Had a wonderful GAC where, for the first time in months, it was one of the ones where I actually had somebody with a lower GP than me, which only happens about one in about 20. And therefore it kind of meant it was very different. I'm used to, because a lot of the GACs, unfortunately, recently have become very samey. It's the same teams on defense. It's Vader, Rey, Jabba. It was weird to have somebody who didn't even have Jabba the Hutt that wasn't there, and
Wow.
but I mean, just a really good player, obviously, because of where he was. But it was just meant for a different type. He's not attacked yet, so I don't know if he'll clear me all first time. We got the full clear, 1770 or something like that. So we'll see. But interesting, nice. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying SWGOH. We go into that period of. It's been a very quiet week, and I quite like the quiet weeks because you're just able to kind of relax into just enjoying SWGOH without the pressure of a new release or a new character
Oh,
or,
after last
well,
week, holy God.
yeah, exactly. Just a kind of just an enjoyable week
I
without a lot
mean,
of salt
yeah,
and yeah.
I mean, TB's wrapping up, JC's in the full throw of it, so not a lot going on. We didn't get any news.
Couple of annoying galactic challenges where those
This
two
last
things
one was
is.
straight trash, man. I raged last night on this one because it is such laziness from them. I mean,
I hate the revive ones. I
the
hate the
revive
ones.
ones,
It's
but
so annoying.
it's not so much the revive ones, it's the team they put with the revive that made that such a nightmare. And they just throw random shit on the wall. I'm convinced of this now because to beat that, with clone troopers, and I've got high relic, modded troopers. A bad batch is like relic 5, but I mean, I still went in there and it's still bad batch. It's damn near impossible. I didn't beat the tier 10. I beat the tier 8, I think, just to get the crate. And then, doing the other part of it's not bad because I just went there with Kylo, with Watt, I think Crew and Hux, and did that no problem because Crew, I mean, SLKR is going to ramp up and just start destroying. And then you get your solo win. He's going to get all the crits on the same hit because of his AoE. So that wasn't a problem, but it was just a clone one. So I tried 9, still the same problem, even though there were like 3. It was like, Jesus. Because they ramp up and then they just murderize you, no matter
Yeah,
what you
I
do.
think I think eventually did about 6. What I did was I did Jabba and 3 Hut
That's
Cartel.
an easy one to do too.
In so that managed to get me the 3 crits and complete and the undersize in a single battle.
Yeah.
And then I just worked out I needed 15 to get to the second top crate, and I was like, right, okay, that's level 5 or something. So I just went in there with the clones. But yeah, and even the one before it was a little bit annoying. So yeah, just a few of those, which I don't know, they're less of a puzzle, more of just an annoying grind
Yeah,
or
it's
a
not a puzzle
yeah
really. I mean, some of them lately have been just
annoying.
garbage. It's so bad because, like, people, if you don't have the relics on the team, that's one thing where you just don't have the firepower or the team to go in there and beat it, right? That's different than what we're saying, which is we have the team, we have the shit, and we go in there and we can just get murderized, and it's not fun.
But nobody's going to put relics today in whatever month and whatever year we're in into a Bad Batch team. Like, because they're not useful for anything really at the moment. They're kind of a mid-tier counter. They're very,
They're
very good.
they're very
But
good, but yeah, you're not going to go Relic 7 on them.
no,
You'll go Relic 5. I mean, the 4 need to be Relic 5 anyway for Vader, but um, you're not going to take them to Relic 7. But the team doesn't need to be
even
because
if
of the
you
way.
went to 7, it wouldn't matter because they don't ramp.
No,
Like
it's a
you know,
control team. It's a control
yeah.
team, and it's just to control and just wear out the other team over time. But with a team like that's on this Galactic Challenge, you can't do that because one, they revive, and two, because you have to you have to focus on Trey because the whole time you're killing the rest of them. Plus, you had Talon there keeping Palpy alive. It's just plus they're cleansing themselves. It's like what the hell, man? It's
And they're
really
ramping and
difficult.
ramping and ramping,
Yeah,
and then
until yeah.
the purple wizard starts one shotting people, or Talon starts one shotting people, and it's like it just didn't. I think it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's
No,
just it's
not for me.
yeah, I
No.
tried both clones, different combinations. I went in there with the other clone team, knowing that I pretty much was not going to have much of a chance. I was hoping what I could do was have
Rex Slate.
five
Yeah,
sacrifice cells. But the problem with Rexlade is they just come back the next round. Once
yeah. It's not an
the
insta
comes,
kill.
yeah, it's not an instant kill. So it's like okay, I could beat 10, I could beat 9. I beat it at 8 because they're only relic 0, I believe, and it was like okay, all right, I guess
Well,
this is.
I'm just farming the Omicrons at the moment. I mean, I don't know what I'm up to. I think I'm over 80 Omicrons, but I don't really have anywhere earmarked for them to go. I guess Malikos probably has some, but
Oh, he's
like,
got 3.
whereas in the past, I was always like, right, oh my God, where's my next Omicron going to go? I've started mounting them up at quite a rate as well. So,
Yeah.
yeah, quite weak.
It's just one of those things that you look at that Galactic Challenge, you I raged a little bit last time. I'm so sick of this shit. It's like I don't mind a challenge, but I don't. But that's not a challenge. That's just a big fu. I mean, that's just designed to be.
I don't mind if it's meant to frustrate you so that you think, right, oh God, if I
But
put a
it's
couple of
I
relic
like
levels on
yeah.
here,
It's
yeah,
I like it where it's like you have to figure out the mechanics and then you can overcome it. That's not something you can overcome unless you have like Relic 9, and because you have to out damage them or put enough damage out there to beat it. And they're at Relic 7, but they're so overclocked that and they ramp up so fast. You'll start off really well with both clone teams. You're controlling the fight, you're doing your thing. And the other thing too is once one dies, they all get their full health and you're like, shit, and you just, as you said, unless they're really high, you're not can't kill them fast enough for them to revive, and then you're in the same boat you are. And I was only able to overcome that at the tier 8 because they're at relic 0 because my damage output was greater than what they could get, regeneration and stuff. So yeah, if you're facing the Galactic Challenge, I know Scribe put a good video out there of it, but he was frustrated as hell too. And I understood it because we did the stream last night on my channel, and me and Ram, for the Behind the pre-stream, and he's like, "Have you done the new Galactic Challenge yet?" I'm like, "No, I kind of looked at it, but I hadn't really, you know, done much with it." And he's like, "Yeah." So, it's like Jesus Christ. So I think I did it after the stream or whatnot. I went back and because I did it during the stream, but I was like, "Okay, f this. I'll just go back and."
yeah,
It's really
not good fun. Not good fun.
not good fun. So anyway, welcome everybody. Good morning. Hello to everybody. Make sure you give your greetings. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and subscribe. We are on YouTube, not Twitch. And if you want to help support the content that we're putting out, that is a good way to do it. Hello to Ray Rock, who says happy up ranger of the panel, and you picklers. Mr. Bones Ratlin says good morning, skewers. Good morning to you, sir. Good morning to What Else 33. Kate Gaming, the world famous Kate Gaming, says good morning, Ranger and Aldi. She must be just waking up, getting her tea, getting her coffee. Gappy says, hi, Ranger and the shippings.
King of shippings, the king of
King of
ship.
shippings. I'm
But
the
it's me. But
king
it's
of
me. But
wishful shippings.
it's simply it's a branding thing. The fact is, everybody else hates ships, so you can just brand yourself as king of shippings and you get away with it. Because
Weird.
everyone else is like, I hate ships. I'm like, I love ships. I actually
But
quite like ships because the kits are simpler.
we had the full FU on ships yesterday. I think we one shot everything. Yeah. So, yeah. Kimmy, babe, hit me, Kimmy, one more time. Says, good morning, Scares. Good morning, Kimmy. Got piece of the Galactic Challenge is like the Kobayashi Maru. Well, yeah, you're going to have to hack it to beat it. Phil Reagan, I don't believe in the no-win scenario. Says, good morning, Ranger, Aldous, and the Skewers. Hello. What's going on, Big Pieces? Hello, everybody. What's going on, my friend? Make sure you get your questions in and guys and stuff, and we will get this party started. So, just as a mental note, schedule next week through Thursday will be the same. I don't know if we're gonna get a lore video in this week, because I'm just verifying. I think we may have people out, so I'll try to get one in if I can. I can't. I can. I can. If I can, I can't. But next Friday I will not be doing any streaming on Friday because I need to rest up because Saturday is our big 24-hour stream. That's going to be on Twitch. We're kicking off our American Cancer Society campaign. The Tiltify is out. You can go there right now and you can donate toward it. We've set a goal of $22,194. I know that's a specific number you may be asking, but the reason is because if we hit $22,194, we would have raised $100,000 for the ACS since we've been inception of doing that. And that's a pretty awesome number to hit. So if you'd like to, the Tiltify's been out all week. I've been pimping it everywhere. You can find it in Twitch. It is out. So feel free to go donate. Actually, let me pull it up and I'll put it in the chat for everybody because I don't know why I didn't think of that. But as I said, I'm very much under the weather right now, so I'm not, fully.
Are we doing a mock Jedi Academy on Twitch then next week?
Yeah.
Or okay, so same focus, but we'll do it on Twitch at a similar time. Cool. A link.
Yeah. It's not working right now, but as soon as it gets for me, it's not working. So something weird is going on. Hello, Jedi Rules says, hey from San Diego. Good morning. But yeah, so if you want to go there, go to Twitch. You can find it. Stream Elements is always popping it in there. We've had it up all week. The Tiltify started. So yeah, we're going to be doing a 24-hour stream. We'll be playing lots of fun games and doing different stuff. And so Friday, I'm not streaming. I'm taking the day to rest and I'll work out and do my stuff, but I'm going to rest and go to bed early so I can get lots of sleep. So I can wake up. We are going to be doing Jedi Academy next Saturday on Twitch. It'll be a live version on Twitch. And then
when does it start? Sorry,
same time that we start. Yeah, we'll start it. Actually, we're going to start it like the old version. It'll be an hour earlier, so we're going to start it at 9 my time, 10 East.
So when does the 24 start?
That's when it starts. On that, when we start Jedi Academy on Twitch at 9 a.m. Central, 10 Eastern, we will kick off the 24-hour stream. So we'll do the Jedi Academy, do all that stuff. I'll do like my GAC, so we'll get like a couple hours of SWGOH in for you guys. Then after that, we're gonna play lots of different games. Saturday night we'll do D&D, and then we'll play other games through the rest of the evening. Me and Finn will be back and forth to keep streaming so we can take breaks, maybe get a little bit of rest in and stuff because it's really rough. I don't want to do straight 24 hours anymore because even though I will be streaming 24 hours, I need breaks. I need to get my eyes to calm down, eat, that kind of stuff. So yeah.
If you want to fill a couple of hours, I can try and understand the C3PO kit.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, I think I'll.
Okay, fine. If you want, I could just read through it and we could try and understand what Earth does.
So yes, next Saturday, mark it down, August 5th, and we've changed the campaigns. Every time we do a campaign, it's always been Stew Strong, but now it's Stew Stronger, and we've added the ER at the end for our good friend Earthwalker who passed away this year from cancer. And if you guys don't know, we've got some cool items. One of them being, if you're familiar with the guys that drew the comics for Green Lantern, Finn got a couple of autographs, signed comics from them. We also got a really awesome comic that was signed by the original guy that did it, and we sent that to Earthwalker and his family with a really cool thing on it. So because Earthwalker was a huge Green Lantern fan, so we made sure that we got. Finn went out of his way to make sure we got that signed. So it was really cool to see that. Anything else? September 1st, patrons, VIPs, be aware that I will be getting the tattoo that I owe everybody on my right arm of the Mandalorian with the best tattoo artist around. And I'm not going to live stream it because it's going to be probably an 8 to 10 hour session that I'll be sitting there. Not feasible to stream it. I did talk to the guy. He's fine with me streaming it. I figured it'd be better just to do videos and just pop those in during the different phases of it. And we'll put those in the VIP Discord for you guys. And that's a special treat for all you guys that supported us. Yeah, we might do some Phasmo there, Kate. I'm down for that. You know me, I'm just willing to go run in and talk shit and die for you guys so you can figure out what the ghost is. I don't care. And then next year, February 1st through the 4th, me and Finn are getting the thing together for all the skewers. If you'd like to come to Florida in the area, get with Finn, and we are going to have a little skewer convention. Me and Finn will be going to MegaCon. If you want to join us for MegaCon, we're going to get dressed up. I will be wearing the full Mando costume, things of that nature. So, yeah. All right, we got some questions there. Aldi, you ready to do some questions there?
Yeah, 100%. Let's roll.
All right, let's do this. Yes, it's next weekend, Kate. August 5th, we will be doing the big charity, starting the kickoff of our 2023 campaign again. $22,194. We will be doing that. I think Finn's doing his hot tub stream. He has to do that as part of that 24-hour stream, I believe. And we're going to be playing a lot of games and other things. So we're going to be doing a lot of fun stuff that night and day and everything. So mark it on your calendars and spread the word, because again, $22,194. We will raise $100,000, and that's Dark Sign 1972, first question. Good morning, everyone. Did CG update us all about Leviathan this week, or did I miss anything? I'm really disappointed. No, but that is a laundry list of bugs and stuff. I mean, I think 5 that we know of. There's probably 9 that are going on with that. I haven't checked the latest update on the forums. Guess I could go do that right now. The latest one I had was they had the 5. Let me see if it's been updated. But they have not been fixed. There's some major fixes and stuff that have got to go on with Leviathan.
I think my understanding is the Leviathan, they fixed 1 or 2 of them, and the Leviathan, certainly at 7 stars, is gaining more and more viability. I think but people are starting to work it out. I'm not a fan of the ship. I don't like the mechanic. My feeling, my hatred for the ship isn't necessarily its ranking or its power. It's more just how boring it is to use. It's like, it's literally not about the ships on the board. It's just about the capital ship and this takeover mechanic, which it just kind of doesn't. I love the ships that do massive damage. I love KRU's ship. I love the TIE Defender. I love Second Sister. I think those are fun ships to use, and I really think it's a step back with these really boring Sith ships.
So the thing too is, good morning, Desi. Schnarf, schnarf, Daisy, schnarf. The problem with Leviathan is not consistent on offense. If you know how to use it, you can, but you can still get really bad RNG. Problem with some of the fleets, like, you got to know the certain order executor, and you have to know the order of kill and operations for Profundity. Problem is, Profundity, with all the days not working and stuff, it could kill your ship and really screw things up, and you can time out. It's really bad. So it is not dominating the meta. It is not a dominating fleet. It is not even close to being any of those things, and it's basically doggy doo-doo on defense. So yeah,
which I don't mind. I actually don't mind that. I like it.
I don't mind it being dominated on defense, but it can't be this bad where you can go in with endurance and beat its ass. You know what I'm saying? That can't be a thing that happens with a new fleet. That a fleet like endurance and stuff is beating. Holdo is beating it. You know, all this stuff. It's like, okay, that's where I kind of like, okay, I don't need it to be overpowering, but I don't need it to be such shite that you can use any fleet to beat it.
I don't mind, honestly, no, but I really hate it when they launch a thing that's just too good on defense and people use it to block zones. I'm not a fan of Jabba because you don't ever, I don't mind its defensive viability. And I think it's not a million miles off. But back to the question, no, you've not missed anything. They've been pretty silent. I think they're probably still gathering data and fixing bugs.
Yeah.
But it has got better. It's got better for the initial launch.
But it's still pretty poo-poo. It's really bad, man. There's still some craziness with that thing.
It's not where people, but everyone always fantasy books these things before they're launched.
No, I'm going to push back on that one. We didn't make that claim. They did. These are CG's word. Dominate the meta. all those words that they use in that post, that was them putting that kind of expectation out there for this fleet. That wasn't me or you or any of the community saying, oh, this fleet's going to kick ass or having those expectations. They set us up for those expectations. And the reason why people are really upset is because a lot of people, especially free to play, they hoarded their crystals and did all the stuff that they're supposed to do. It's 2 conquest characters, it's 2 relic 9s, it's 5 relic 7s, and the ship is nowhere near, not even close, not even sniffing what they promised in there.
I would say at 7 stars, it is close to dominating the meta on offense. There's a couple of things they've obviously missed out their post there. Brackets must be at 7 stars, brackets on offense only. And it is frustrating. I don't know. I think it's close to where the power level for me.
It's close, yeah. I agree with Loki in the chat. Sir Loki, the sexy Buddha himself. It's a mid-level tier fleet. It holds you over until you can get Executor and Bounty Hunters. I agree. The Executor and
it's a highly boring fleet to use.
It really is. It just lacks damage. That's the problem.
Yeah,
even if 7 stars, what you're trying to do is just wear the team down and get to your, where you've killed some of their stuff. They can't get reinforcements. You've taken over the capital ship, and then you just nuke them down from there. But you're right. It's completely boring, and that's the problem, is that you can get timed out. You get bad RNG with those fleets, you can get timed out. So yeah, but we
have had similar things before where they've essentially had a Sith ship semi-lifter already planned for the next conquest, so to speak, and therefore they don't change the capital ship, or they don't make an adjustment to what's underpowered because they know the lifter's coming, and they get kind of stuck, or they have a kind of a. So I don't know. I'm not sure. They certainly haven't. I haven't ever seen a post that says we are monitoring its performance. So I actually think reading between the lines, I think they're happy where it is.
Then they're
at the moment.
They're on serious crack. But then again, we just got that new Galactic Challenge, so that proves the crack theory. So
yes, yeah, they certainly don't give me a bad,
but we got to be a little patient here. I agree with you, Alice. Let's wait to see where the bugs get fixed, right? Let's see where the ship is then, and then let's see the performance after everything gets fixed, where it sits, how good it is. If it's still crappy after that, then CG has to buff it, because he can't have that kind of investment. Because what's the point of investing in a ship that's meh?
I certainly think it should have had a public health warning on being not viable at 5-star. Like, literally, it should have had a look, but brackets 7-star only. Mine's 5-star. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, because it's essentially useless. It's like, so yeah.
All right, next question from Gav P. For Aldi, how does C-3PO kit work? Well, tune in sometime in the future. We'll let him do that, but not right now.
No idea. No idea.
Johnny Mo, what's going on? Says question. The assault battles today. I have Relic 7 Inquisitors, all with 6-dot mods. Any tips on beating the last tier of it? If you don't have Riva, good luck. Riva, when I did the high tier for is that for the Inquisitors, right? Yeah. Inquisitor one for today. Which I'm almost done with my Night Sisters Aldi. Then I'll have Secrets and Shadows done, and I'll be able to sim these for the rest of my time until a new one comes out, and I'm very happy about it. But it's a huge difference trying to beat that with Grand Inquisitor than Riva. If you have Riva, you'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, you can go in there and you'll just dominate, because she just kicks the shit out of teams. If you're going with Grand Inquisitor, you need massive, and I mean massive, RNG for that 5th battle with those Jedi, with Cam and Yoda and Shakti and stuff. They will nuke you to exist. You have to get really lucky with that. I know Carthrick tried to do it, couldn't do it, tried it multiple times for multiple hours, and he's got really like 8-9 on his shit with crazy mods. And
I was okay, so Gav P and Tanu, anyone knows these people, coached me through this today. So I will try and recount the coaching I received. You need the event special on Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah.
So every time you use the event special and kill somebody, so basically for the first 4 tiers, you work them down to the yellow or red, and then you wait until Grand Inquisitor has his event special, use the event special, and then kill. Something I learned was that Grand Inquisitor can get 2 event specials at the same time. If he AoEs and kills 2 people, he'll get 2 of the little triangles. That starts to massively increase his damage. You kind of need his damage very, 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 very high for the last few tiers.
Even
when you get to number 5, you've got a basic when you end 4. Even if that means not using a special or something like that, and then
especially if they've got the retribution, you're just setting yourself up for failure if you do that.
When you go into the 5th one, you've got to put torture on GMY.
Yeah, you gotta get that little bastard out of there
with Grand Inquisitor, and you've got to kill him quickly. You don't have many heals, so it's Reva, GI, 8th, 5th, and 3rd. She the yellow one? Who's the yellow one? She's Greta, the 3rd one.
I don't remember the exact comp, but yeah, I know the big 3 that will make your life absolutely hell is Cam, Shakti, and Greater Master Yoda, because Yoda's constantly doing his stuff, Shakti's constantly cleansing, Cam's switching stances, and he's constantly doing stuff. And when they're in offense mode, especially the retribution, you have to be deathly careful, or you will they'll just pummel you to death.
So if you get that, you need a lot of specials on Grand Inquisitor.
It's really
difficult. You need to kill them quickly.
It's really difficult. But now with Reva, put auto, because she just goes in there. You don't care about any of that stuff because they can't kill her. You know,
they killed mine.
Really? I mean, she gets revived. It's really nice if that happens.
No, they went through her. They went through her 3 times.
Really? Oh wow!
So,
I had no diff beating that. I was so happy because I'm like, all right, because I got to that fight with Reeve. I'm like, let's see what this young lady can do. Nuked them to orbit. It was fantastic. You do want to have the previous fight where at the end just use basics. You want to have all your specials going in there, because if you do, with how that team's set up, if you have all your specials with Reva in the beginning, they got no chance, because you're just going to go through them like hot knife through butter. So I should probably do a video on it someday, but all right. Let's see here. Michael Jedi rules. Question: will we get anything from CG on Tuesday? Maybe a new character, possibly. I'm thinking this is the week. I didn't think we were gonna get anything this week, but I think we're gonna get the new character, whatever that dude's name is for Leia. He'll be the new Marquis, and we'll maybe get an announcement on the next requirements for Leia, which will be nice because I need to start setting mine up, because that's what I'm going to be religiously working on. I'm already taking Rex to 7 stars already. Not going to gear him, but I'm just going to get all the characters that are new Marquis. That's my thing. Crystals into Marquis to get them to 7 stars. I'm going to do Rex, then I'll do Kanisa, I'll do the next one, and so forth and so on. So I think that's going to be the news. 2 things we're looking for.
Yeah.
That GLA requirements, because we're getting into August. So I think we're going to get the next round of Leia, and what the fuck is going on with Leviathan, the big thing. So I think we'll have a pretty decent news week for August. I think we'll get some
we've got the usual, I don't know, I just noticed there's character bundles, semi-data mined. I don't know, they're quite data mined. I don't know when the updates come through, but it looks like we might be getting a couple more Marquis, which I think makes sense. But yeah, because you wouldn't want to do it the week before. Well, no, actually, no, we're not getting a new character yet in Conquest. So I don't know. I think either this week or next week we'll get the next round of Leia.
We might. We might get we know the character, but the Datacron set coming up next week too, because Conquest will be the next week. So to get the data, that's good. Good looking out there, Alice. Forgot about that. So we'll get that as well. So it should be a pretty busy news week next week for information. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. They're going to be slow with the release of the Marquis and the release of GLA, because they're going to push it out slow like they did with Jabba, and that's okay. If we don't get the next character, it'll be the week after, and I'm okay with that. But they are
working. They are working to their Extra Life thing. I think their official fundraising day. So it'll be interesting to see if they start trying to kind of get a little bit of positive interaction. I mean, they went through that great week of streaming on their Capital Life channel, Capital Games, and then obviously this week, I think silent. So the very second since they launched the Leviathan, I haven't seen them streaming again this week. So we'll see. We'll see. But they might try and get a little bit more positivity leading up to that extra life stuff. But yeah, I think we'll see either GL Leia, the next set of requirements.
I think so. Then it'll be
And
like
I
3 or 4 weeks out for the next set, and then that'll
and
put
I
us into September. Yeah,
and I think we might get Captain Rex, maybe farmable,
possibly.
on a
Yes,
node.
if he's
And he
Cantina, then that'll be nice
he might he
because.
might go Cantina because it's been a while since the last. It was Cal. Sorry. Okay, carry on. Sorry.
All right. Next question from Gav P. Question for the king of shippings. I'm the king of wishful shippings. What are the merits of using Chimera on defense with the Sith Empire ships? Than using Leviathan as a burner for Executor.
Yes, anyone that's been watching my channel this week, I have been using
Uh,
my 5-star Leviathan as a burner. I am sending it in to burn the cooldowns on the triple attacker Executor.
I can
Um,
see you putting Sith Empire on defense. They're just so good on offense. I really like them more on offense than defense.
I don't know. So I'm running Thrawn,
Of
Sith
course.
Bomber, TIE Dorito, and Malgus with a TIE Defender as the single reinforcement. And nobody's beaten it in one
Really?
yet. Nobody's beaten it all. So they've got that, they've got Profundity, and then they've got Executor Triple Attacker. That's my entire defense.
I think
Nobody
it's
has
just the
got through it
defense
in
in
one.
general you're putting down, not so much that that fleet is as good on defense. On off,
I,
the thing is that what the Sith Empire allows you to do if you don't want to use Leviathan, especially if you have 5 or 6 stars, you can use it with Chimera, and then you can use Executrix with your Empire for offense as well. And those are two fleets that can take on pretty much anything.
yes.
And so you can go a little bit heavier on defense. I'm just not farting around with any of that, so I keep Profundity and Leviathan for offense, and I keep Empire. I just think Chimera with regular Empire is so good, and that's the Empire Bomber, Empire TIE Fighter, and of course Vader in the starting lineup. And then you bring in you only need 2 ships. You need Defender and you need the Interceptor, and you'll nuke a lot of stuff. It's really, really good. But it gives me some flexibility on that with Profundity and Leviathan. But I do keep Executor on defense. You can mix and match. It just depends on what they have. But when you put a defense like that, that's going to make it really different. We had that yesterday.
Uh,
I had Profundity, Executor, and Leviathan all on defense. So we had to
I
really.
mean, that's essentially what I'm doing. But instead of Leviathan, they're getting the Thrawn fleet. So the reason why people are beating Leviathan is they're able to shut off at getting its buffs, so they don't get to the fight. They don't get their thing taken over. They're able to destroy it quickly with a holdo or a thing. But the problem with Thrawn is he still hits his death mark and when TIE Defender comes in with its stun, you're just slowing everything down. So I've been running that, and what tends to happen, as far as I can tell from my opponents attacking, is they see Profundity, so they attack that first. So they think, right, I've got to beat Profundity because that's the best team here. Then they see the triple attacker Executor, and they
Right.
think, okay, I'll attack that one next. Now, triple attacker, you pretty much always need to preload it. It is a tough one. If you're going in with a first order or like a normal counter, and it's not Empire, then you need to preload it. And then when they get round to the Thrawn fleet, they don't have Executor, they don't have Profundity, they don't have First Order. They're trying maybe Separatists. I don't
It's
know what
not
they ever
good.
try. So yeah, the matchup's not good the way that works. So
Yeah,
that's where I'm working,
I
and
keep
I mean,
Profundity. Yeah, the 3 fleets I'm keeping and I'm having no problem fighting anything is Profundity, Leviathan, and Empire. And I can mix and match who I'm going to take on. To put down Negotiator, that's getting an Empire. That's an easy 70 something banner win. And
we
then Profundity now, I'm using Leviathan because I know what to do with it. It's an easy 70 banner win. And then Leviathan, you can use your own Profundity against it and just kick the shit out of stuff. Because the AI on defense right now is so stupid. Now, that'll change once we get the fixes. I need to see what's working afterwards. But I know how the Leviathan counter, I can mirror match both of those two if they go hard on defense because I know what's what. So yeah, we'll see. We got to get some more information and fixes on Leviathan before we finally set a fleet defense. But I kind of have a sneaky suspicion once everything gets fixed, we're going to 4 fleets in Kyber 1 and 2 here around the corner. It just
we'll
seems like
talk
what
about
they're
that.
going to do.
But yeah, I think so my the way I'm running it, I mean, I'm able to go through the defense you described, profundity, executor, and one other is what I'm beating on offense with the Tarkin, First Order, negotiator, hold. You know, like we're able to go through that. Separatists, we're able to go through that as well, even with what I've got on defense. So my anyone that wants to look at my GAT can see how much my opponents struggle with my defense. But I do agree. Yeah, I do agree. Do you want to talk about GAT changes or
Nah, we got
thoughts
some more
on four
questions.
fleets? Or
Yeah, we got some more
okay,
questions here. So yeah. Sir Loki has two questions back to back. I think they're kind of tied in together. Do you think the GLA release will be better than Leviathan? And then second one was Jedi Cal better release than Leviathan. Hands down, I'll give you my perspective and see. Jedi Survivor Cal event was fantastic, and I think that release was fantastic, and it is way better than Leviathan. The character's fantastic. The event was fun. I had a lot of fun because it's like you're doing Fallen Order. They did a really good job of capturing that game in that event, and I really liked it. And for the most part, the characters that are part of Cal to get him, they're really good. I mean, Marin's fantastic. The two UFAs, Cal and Seer, are bloody good if you get the team up and running. Saw's, he's okay. But Tarful's actually surprising really good. If you get that Wookiee team up, it's a pain in the ass because of the way that team works. And it's been nice because I was using it in Conquest for the feed. I'm like, oh my God, this team's stupid. Oh, good Lord. So hands down, Cal's just a better release overall than Leviathan. Hands down, that's no problem. Now, this is what I want to ask Aldous. Do we think Leia will be better? I'm going to say yes because here's the thing. For the most part, they've been doing very well with their, especially GLs. They do really good with the releases. There may be a bug here or there, but for the most part, it's solid. Like Job last year was solid. A lot of the characters are solid. Ships is a disaster. I don't know what it is. You look what they did with Cal in previous releases for stuff, and you're like, so good. And then you look at Leviathan, you're like, who was sniffing glue when this was even what? You know, you're just like you just want to pull out your hair. So I have faith in character releases now from CG a hell of a lot more than I do with ships because the last three big ship releases have just they've had problems. This one more than any, but there was problems with Profundity and Executor when they first got released. But this takes the cake. So I think GLA will be really good. I think the release will be fine. I can see people's perspective. They see what goes on with Leviathan, and it makes them super nervous for Leia because they're the track record. But I kind of look at it like characters releases versus ship releases because they're kind of two separate things for me. I know they're from the same company, but it just seems like there's two different teams and shit going on with this because how can this Jedi Cal and other stuff be so good? And then you look at goddamn Leviathan being just a complete cluster bomb, man. I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about Geolea, you know, and as compared to Leviathan? Do you think it'll be better? Do you think they're going to mess up again? What do you think?
I think Leviathan's a tough one because at the moment with crystals sitting in fleet and with ships actually deciding a lot more GACs than GLs, it's very, very hard to really understand the value of a ship. Even one that maybe isn't meta defining or the best ship in the game, or it's kind of it's difficult. So I'm not sure. My jury's still out personally on Leviathan where it fits because ships are more important than characters. Put it that way. So just because it's not anyway, okay, let's talk about GL layer. What worries me about GL layer is actually what they did with Leviathan. When they launched Leviathan, they were obsessed with this taking over the capital ship mechanic. They were obsessed with this one shot on basic annihilation mechanic. And that worries me because it means that they're kind of sitting there with their box of stupid ideas, right? And they're reaching into it going, oh, what about this? What about this? Therefore, at the moment, and this will horrify everyone, I wouldn't be surprised if Gia Leia was on her own in a team and she was the first ever solo GL, or she was a character that was designed for threes, or she was a character that, you know what I mean? Like if they do something that's a bit kind of, oh, look at us, how creative and interesting we are, she no longer fits in a team of 5 people. I am interested in the next release of the requirements to see exactly where she fits, because if we don't get the 2 more marquees that kind of quite obviously give a vision to what Kit will do, and they start to give a vision about what she does, it worries me, because the first set, I don't really see a character that's definitely on her team.
The 2 marquees are not going to be part of this team. That's why I keep saying there's going to be 2 new marquees that are going to be released, guys, for her, because there's no way on this good earth, because we already know Rex is going to Phoenix. Kinesa is going to the Ewoks. Now, the one character that's coming out, the 3rd one, is part of the team, but I still think we're getting 2 more, because the thing that they did with Jabba, which was so good, Jabba was really well balanced. He was really strong against certain GLs, and certain GLs he wasn't as strong. He was right where he needed to be. I think they're going to do the same thing with Leia. We'll get the new, whatever his name is that they created as part of the team, and then 2 more. Because Jabba had 4 characters, I think. Let's see. Santin, Boosh, and Skip Lando.
Skiff.
Yeah, so we'll get 2 more. We'll get 2 more, and then the 4th will be, a rebel that you can throw in there, like kind of like the Jabba team. You have some flexibility with that. I think they really saw the release of Jabba, and the team that's been working on like character releases, the balancing has been really, really good, because depending on the level of the character, but they've really balanced the characters to where they needed to be at. Like Jedi Cal is fantastic, and he's really awesome, but he's not completely overpowered. He fits where he is with his status. And with what they did with Jabba last year. So I have faith, if that's the same team that did that and has got the same kind of concept with Leia, even with the new raid being 3s, I don't think it'll really matter. I think she'll be, we're hopeful. If they do the same good work they did with Jabba on Leia, then I think Leia is going to be fine. Then we get the ships, and it's like, can we do this for that? Can we talk? Can we like get together here? What is happening?
But that is my if. The if is if they don't do anything stupid or get kind of, oh my God, what about if this is the first ever solo GL? Or what if?
I hope not.
Well, but I wouldn't put it after the Leviathan launch. I wouldn't put it past them to have this solo concept of something crazy, and then try and fit it all around it.
You got me a little scared now, because I'm thinking what you said about 3v3 is like, oh, it wouldn't do.
They would. They would.
No.
I also think that Leia will probably be offensive. I can't see her being great on defense.
We don't know yet. Yeah.
But character-wise, I would have thought she'll be an offensive character, and be able to kind of shoot teams and surprise mechanics. I can imagine her, Endor Han, and one other being a 3s team. Possibly.
All right, let's get to LBC. Rob says, morning, everyone. Sorry I'm late. Believe it or not, I'm in Vegas this morning. Ho ho. I am still sick. I couldn't work out this 3-week difference. Join the crowd, brother. I'm sick as a dog right now. Jedi rules question. Will we get another really good Jedi like Jedi Knight Cal soon? The only one that I've been still saying, but I think she keeps getting pushed back because they're on this dark side kick right now with fucking con, is I still think Satil Shawn's coming in the game. I just think they've been pushing her back with all these dark side releases because they had the Leviathan and everything else, and now they're finishing up, the Jedi Survivor series with Malicos. Because we've had nothing but dark side and Conquest for a while. So I think if we get a new character, it's going to be Satil for the Old Republic, which kind of needs some loving, and she would be a great character addition to the Old Republic team to really, kind of lift them up a little bit, like they did with Malgus for the Sith Empire team. Good team, but when you add Malgus, like they did with Darth Revan's team, it's a different team altogether. And I think Satil will be that. But I don't see any other Jedi working or anything outside of that. Do you, Aldous?
The Jedi tag is such a burnt one. Like every time they put a Jedi in the game now, they're going to have to test it with another 40 odd characters. And the mechanics are very, very, very odd with Bindo in there and with Jedi Knight Revan. It makes it very, very difficult, in my opinion, and GML, to put in an overpowered Jedi. So I actually think that we might see Jedis, but they might start either another Jedi tag, or they might start picking an Old Republic Jedi tag, or that sort of thing. I think the same with Sith or Scoundrels. I think some of the factions, in my opinion, are becoming too big, and therefore it's almost impossible for them to launch as a decent character into that.
They have to
So
break it
no,
up,
I don't
like
think.
like Rebel Fighter, that kind of stuff.
I think out of Ahsoka, maybe in a year and a half's time,
I think
we'll
by next
probably get a
year,
Jedi.
spring into summer, we're going to get stuff from the Ahsoka series. The tricky thing is we never know what they're going to do around Christmas time, right? We know through the fall we're going to be dealing with mainly Leia and all the stuff that goes there. Then there's a flip to a legendary character. Last year we got Afra, and they can usually go in any direction they want. The previous year was Starkiller. Last year was Afra. They could go hard into Jedi and do some, a bunch of Jedi that they could add or legendary, something along those lines. I don't know what they're going to do, but they always, that's the one thing I can never predict, is that what they're going to do for that holiday season, where their minds are, because that gives them a window to add stuff that's not currently involved with any of the shows or anything. That's when it kind of seems last couple of years they've been adding stuff that's EU or outside of the box that, for Star.
Magazine, or
Yeah.
or the Thrawn books, or Timothy
Yeah.
Zahn, or an old computer game that no one has, or all the, yeah, like they kind of, yeah, they pick something new. I think probably from the comic era, there's probably something in there that they're probably looking at. I would have thought would be my. And then we obviously have, what do we talked about, the Phantom Menace, 25 years, I think we talked about last week, and that being a potential kind of world for a new Phantom Menace
They could
type
add
team.
Jedi Knight or Padawan Obi-Wan. There's a couple characters from there they could add, so we'll see. Obeezy, the big O. I'm mainly free to play and halfway through unlocking Leviathan. I skipped Profundity due to the top of the meta post. Would they ever refund the Relic 8 and 9 due to its underperformance? No. No.
No.
No. The only way you're going to get a refund in this game is if you went through Google to purchase anything for like gear, for through crystals or anything like that. Google's pretty good about that. Well, I'll put a hashtag on this. If you don't do it constantly, and they will refund to a certain point, depends on how much you do it. The store, EA, good luck. Good luck with that. They're not refunding that stuff. I've never heard of them I can't remember them refunding anything. They will give you, when they mess up, we've gotten stuff like crystals and things in the past, but that's about as far as they'll go. But their argument will be, well, if you Relic 9 Revan and Malik, well, you have a Relic 9 and Revan and Malik, so I mean, yeah.
I think as a community, I would really kind of focus for everyone. See, when they do the next announcement and they're putting the next kind of very positive stuff in there, going, oh, this will redefine, GLA is going to redefine the meta. I think every single person needs to go back in that comments and say, do you mean at Relic 9, or do you mean at Relic 3? Do you mean with our 7 Omicrons? Like, they're able to kind of use these semantics to get out of it. I'd still maintain it's kind of not underperforming a little bit. And there's semantics to say, well, yeah, if you max out every pilot at R9, it does dominate the meta. But so I really think that instead of kind of asking questions about minutiae, I think we really got to pin them down to say, honestly, what do you mean? Do you mean it's 7-star? I know this doesn't apply to GL, but do you mean with all its Omicrons? Do you mean, like, clarify more about actually what you're saying? Don't just say, oh, this will dominate the meta.
All right. Next question from Hans Olo. I like what he did there. Question. Apologies if this has already been discussed, but what are your speculations for labor requirements round 2? Do we think they'll be coming this week? Yes, we'll get. So here's round 2. We're going to get the new character, and we'll get the other 4 characters that are going to be like, whatever they're going to put in there.
Couple of Phoenix, maybe an Ewok.
Whatever it's going to be, right? And that'll be plus the new character. So that'll be round 2. I think round 3, we're getting 2 more marquees. Now, what those could be, General Han, General Lando, or they can go 9 Nub. There's a lot of characters they could do from Return of the Jedi that they could throw in there. Someone said a Scout Trooper. I don't want Scout Trooper from Return of the Jedi. I want Jason Sudeikis, Mando Season 2, punching Baby Grogu in the head. Damn it. That's the Scout Trooper that we need. We need that Scout Trooper in the game. His little satchel, every time he tries to shoot something, he punches the bags, telling them to shut up. But I still have a sneaky suspicion because there's no way Rex and Kanisa are not going to be part of that Leia team. I still have a sneaky suspicion they're going to do two more marquees. Now, one thing, because you just said the 3v3 thing there, all this makes me think maybe it's not. Maybe it's supposed to be a 3v3 team because one of the things they did talk about in the raid, I was thinking about this in my head, is you can use Jedi Knight Luke and something for the raid. And I was like, oh, God, what if it's just he is going to be the next 3v3 GL? Like, oh,
I mean, there. So Loki says at best, Aldi, you're a genius. Yeah,
high praise. High praise.
I think it is. It is highly possible that they do something like 3v3, that they create a 3-team. At the moment, everything's designed for 5s, but they've been very clear to give us 3s. It's on and off. I would not be surprised. I think the fact that we keep asking this question, and it's not on Hans. Oh, look, we do get this question, but I think none of us really have an answer.
Not yet. We don't know what direction they're going with this.
Because there aren't 4 obvious people that fit with Endor Leia.
Yeah.
Nobody fought with her on Endor. Well, Endor Han did, but that's pretty much it. There's not these quite obvious kind of, right, you must have. We've already got Ewok Synergy C-3PO is already in the game. So we kind of have Endor 3PO. So it is possible that we're going to end up in that different 3v3 space, which therefore I think we will look very closely at the next Rex. And I think at that point is something we need to start picking apart. And if what Ranger predicts does not happen, and it is 2 Phoenixes, 2 Ewoks, and there is a marquee, but that marquee is Scout Trooper, who quite clearly isn't on the Leia team, then I will start smelling a little bit of a rat here, and I'll start to be a little bit, hang on, this is not following the normal cadence. So I think there's something quite...
Yeah, those rounds...
something quite interesting.
I'm not so worried about this next round of requirements. We pretty much have a good idea what it's going to be. The new marquee and whatever 4 they're going to throw in there. It's that third round of requirements that's really going to give us some insight of what direction they're going with. If we see 2 new marquees and then a couple of other characters just to round out the 5, then I'll be like, aha! So there's the team for 5v5, and maybe she will be 3v3. That doesn't discount that, but I'll be like, mm-hmm. But if they're not in there, then we're going to be like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I see what you did there, you sons of but. All right.
Or if we get a marquee released that has a 3v3 Omicron.
Yeah.
That would be the other red flag. I'd be like, hang on, why does Endor Han have a 3v3 Omicron here?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's a 3v3 design team, maybe it picks up a TW Omicron that expands to 5 people. I don't know. There might be some clues. Look, I only throw out there. I don't know. I'm throwing it out there as a potential. Let's see what happens. That's why we love the game. It's exciting.
All right. Next question. Well, Kimmy Baby says, just got my job at a Relic 7. Love the squad. Fun stuff. Event was awesome. No bugs. Yes, the event is very good. And Java is an awesome GL. They did a really good let's see here. What else? 23 question. Can Radis beat the Tusken team if they have the Tusken Warrior Datacron? No Omicrons. Oh.
I would worry.
Tricky.
I would worry if you had. Is it?
They don't have the Omicron though.
Yeah, but does one of the Rogue One? Do 2 of the Rogue Ones not keep proccing a load of turn meter?
Depends on which one you're going in with. That's oh boy. That's.
I never use Radis. The fish sits on defense. I just stick on T-Vents now with an extra tank, so I don't really know. I have Tuskens in offense.
So they don't have the Omicron for the leadership.
Warrior.
Well, no, they got the Datacron for Warrior, but they don't have. Okay. It doesn't really matter. I think his Omicron's a 3v3, if I'm not mistaken. Tusken Chieftain.
Yes, yeah.
That's a tough one.
I wouldn't.
Would say yes.
I would be.
Here's why I would say yes. Both teams ramp the momentum in your team, but if you get to payout, they're boned. Every team if Raditz gets to 100 stacks, they're boned. I don't care what they do or how they go about doing it. You can do Grand Inquisitor and the Inquisitors. If you get to your payout, they're going to die quickly. Um, so if you got a really beefy, good squad, I mean, the Tuscans will do work. Yeah, look at that.
I would
That's the
I
other
would
thing I'm
look
not
at
sure about because if you've got a good beefy Datacron with good defense and protection and stuff just to keep your team up and running, you should be okay. Um,
I would go Hoth Rebels, the one that keeps reviving. Because the problem
Scarif
is
Rebel
Tuscan.
Pathfinder.
Yeah, he's a rebel, and the Tuscans don't have AOE's on them, so they're forced to hit the tank. Now that Radis is really helped by tanks. The only thing I might avoid on the Radis team would be TM gain. So I think some of the Rogue One and some of the people you might put on there might give TM gain. So I would kind of avoid them. So
So
I
Tus
think it
so
I
here's the
think it
thing.
probably works, but with a very specific team,
As long as
is
you
my
can
guess.
control Tuscan Warrior, but the problem is Tuscan Warrior starts with 10 stacks of momentum, so that's tough. If it's got the stun mechanic, that's going to be tough too. So it's just going to be a survivability thing. She also, if she finishes anybody and kills them, they can't be revived. Um,
But what does that
it's
do to Hoth? Like the Scarif Rebel
can't be
Pathfinder, or
revived.
does that get round it?
It gets
Because
around
you
it. They
never
can't
know.
be
You,
revived.
you, you know what this game's like with reviving. Sometimes you revive even though you don't.
And
But
they
look,
also
it's an
revive Tuscan allies at the end of the turn if that at least one Tuscan ally. So not only are they reviving, but they kill you. But it's a tricky one. I don't know. I actually want to look on SWGOH.gg. What is the win rate against that? Let me look at this. Let me look at counters here. What's the percentages? Just for my own, kind of like, you know,
it is a
insight.
weird battle. Even then, it's going to be very predicated on turn order and what the AI does. It's not a I don't know.
So
Tuscans,
Radis against that team is 81.7%. That's actually really good. Yeah.
it's worth rolling.
Yeah, yeah,
Is that
yeah,
with the Datacron?
I'm assuming so. I mean, I'm
Okay.
looking at all the different Radis teams, the lineups here, whether it's K2SO or Scarif Pathfinder as the tank. They're both 80. It's a 81.7% win percentage. So yeah, I think you're okay. Even with that Datacron, I just think that with Radis and the way that with the debuffs and everything, you can control the team with the dazes and everything, the Billy blocks. Um, I think you should be okay. Yeah, I think you'll be okay. I think Radis is pretty solid here. I mean, if you're in the 80 percentile range, that just means if you get bad RNG, it can go to pot. But what's so good about the Radis team is shit's happening, but you're constantly getting buffs. And, once he stacks and hits 100, I don't care what the team does, they die. It's brutal. That's why I use bounty hunters. I don't even use Bad Batch against them anymore because you can get bad RNG and then you can get boned. But bounty hunters, I don't even dick around. It's like, all right, bounty hunters, get in there, shoot him in the face. Mando, disintegrate him. I don't want to see him. I don't want to even look at him. So yeah. Okay. Jedi rules question. What is everyone's opinion on bonus proving grounds locked B? Are you talking about the bonus you get from Conquest, the extra proving grounds? I mean it. If that's what you mean, Jedi rules. Your question got cut off or something here, but it's nice. That's if you're a spender, but it doesn't address. We've talked about this, Alice. It doesn't address the bigger issue. If you're getting the $29.99 pack and you need some characters, they're getting those extra bonus turns for proving grounds. It's nice. It's really nice. It helps. Problem being, though, most of us don't. They usually get the $9.99 pack, and Proving Grounds is one of the worst catch-up mechanics still in this game. They haven't addressed the overall issue of Proving Grounds, one, being really difficult for mid-tier players, two, being so slow. I think if you just use crystals, I think 17 months. Now, if you're spending money in the $29.99 and getting the extra, that significantly cuts that down tremendously, and that's nice. But It's just nice. It doesn't address Proving Grounds as an overall catch-up mechanic for the vast majority of the players out there.
I think Proving Grounds is one of the okay. So I have softened on Proving Grounds. I will surprise people to say, okay, I still think it's a terrible way to do things. But the more I talk to people who have missed out on 6 or 7 characters and are actually farming 70 shards every month, I'm kind of like, okay, I can kind of see it now. I can kind of see how now that the number of characters in Proving Grounds has built up to quite a few, I'm actually softening because when I talk to somebody and they're getting 70 more shards of, admittedly 7 shards, 7 characters times 10, the progress is much faster. So even if you see 17 for a single character, they're getting like 7 characters over those 17 months. So they're actually getting maybe one every 2 or 3 months is actually getting unlocked.
The problem is if they can beat it.
If they can beat it, yes, which is a major problem because I think the two elephants in the room is one, you actually need meta characters to beat the Proving Grounds very often. And the other one is that if you're going to spend the $30 pack to get the second Proving Ground, I don't know anyone who buys the $30 pack but then doesn't put the effort in to get the red crate.
Right.
So I don't know this small subset of people that didn't get the character through the Proving Ground. And it's not only, through the Conquest, because you're not even talking about Conquest, you're talking about Conquest, the 3 events, and then you still get significant numbers of that character shards in the one after and the one after that and the one after that. So technically there's like 6 conquests you get to get a character. Most of us get it in 3. But actually, who's buying the $30 pack that doesn't get it after 6? So there's kind of...
I think
it's a weird one. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
They're focusing those players that are now starting to do hard mode and they're just normally getting red crate, but have some characters that they have to go back and get that they know will spend $29.99 because they're currently caught up on all the newer characters, but they would need to go back and get a couple of characters that they're missing or ships. So they're adding this as an incentive for them to go back and get it. This is the only target that I can see for this, because most of your free to play are people that will maybe do the $9.99 pack or just not doing well in Conquest period. They're not going to spend $30 to get more attempts because they're struggling even to do the hard node Conquest. They're just trying to get gold crate, those kind of things, or like 6-7 million. They've got some teams, they can't do the feats. They don't have all the newer teams. They don't even have the teams to even get close to even trying to get gold crate. So I think it is a very specific audience that they're trying to cater to. It's it's good. It really does help out those players that are doing that. But again, until they fix
very small, it's a very, very small subset. And like I say, I honestly don't know I don't know anyone that gets, I know people that get the $30 pack, but those people also get the character. And they've also started putting the odd kind of pack out there as well. So yeah, not for me. I don't think it's... Proving Ground is terrible, put it that way. And it's overly expensive on the refresh. But honestly, I do think that now I'm seeing more people in there. I'm softening on it a little bit.
The $30 pack, they've incentivized to be on top of that a little bit more better, because you now get the things that you can knock out. You can ignore a couple feats because you get the shit, and that's fine. But you're 46 million. Let's say you're 47 million GP. You have certain teams, but you can't do all the feats in Conquest. Now, the $29.99 pack does certain things. It does help you, but it doesn't help you get over the hump for the level of crate box you can get. You're just cock blocked. You don't have a lot of the newer teams. You just can't do the feats, and a lot of them are tied to the 15 burritos that you need, and that makes a big difference in how far you can progress on what level of crate you can get. It's not too
more and more a lot of new characters like Captain Rex, that new
Jedi Cal, all Jedi those characters, Cal, and not Dr. just that, but you have to have a really well diversified roster now, because this latest Conquest really emphasized that with all these different feats from Geonosians to everybody. You had to have those teams go in there and knock stuff out, because if you don't, you can't get that feat. And especially in the 3, 4, and 5 sectors, there's a lot of those different teams that you have to have to get the burritos. My strategy, like for this, is I get the one red crate. And then after that, I'm like, I'll get too cold. I'm not stressing about, the red crate from after that. You really, if you get in the
This,
9.99
yeah.
pack, just get the one red crate and any of those three. And if not, then just do 4 gold. That's all you need. And then you'll be fine. You don't get the character when it first comes out in month 3, but another month and then you've unlocked it and you're still on where you need to be at. But you have to everybody's account and what they can produce and progress to, it's going to be very individualized based on where they're at and what they can accomplish. If you're a high spender and you're like 5 million, but you get all these great teams, you're probably going to have more success than someone that's only has a couple of them and they don't spend and they've had to go after certain things. But yeah, there are a lot of teams in this new conquest that you have to have like relic to knock out. And I don't know what it is, man, but they changed the. I do like the simming. The simming's been great. Like this next conquest, we know we're getting the new Datacron set. I am definitely only getting gold because I'm going to be simming the shit out of those nodes to get as much Datacron material as I can because we're losing all of our other ones. So it's going to be like, yeah, let's get these new Datacrons and let's try to get these up as quickly as possible because we will get those this week. So yeah, but there's more work they need to do. It's slowly progressing. We'll see what happens with Conquest and what they're going to do moving forward, but really proving ground. That's the real problem here. I mean, we can talk about all this other stuff, but proving grounds being the way it is designed, it's just 17 months, almost said 19, Rob, that it takes to get a character. A year and a half on a character that's a year old to get it. That is crazy to me. Especially with everything else being accelerated that you can do. It's like, and they're very. Most of the characters, indoor ships are very important to have. There's a few that are not, like Trench, good, but not necessary. Dad Bob Fett is good, but not necessary. But some of the other ones, like Maul, Ahsoka, the Razor Crest. I mean, Christ Almighty, and Malakos. Oh my God, that dude's gonna be gross.
Well, I actually think they've kind of shot themselves a little bit in the foot here with people like Malakos. Now, I'm finding that when I unlock a character through Conquest like Malakos, the quantity of Kairos and Omicrons and Zetas that person needs is so high that I'm not able to necessarily have them usable for the first week of Conquest. So the weird thing is like, actually, Conquest characters is really only 2 weeks of value for me at best before the next Conquest finishes and everyone else. So I'm actually softening on the need to get them all first time. And Malakos might be one I get 3 golds on and I unlock them after the 4th month because simply I'm not going to have the Kairos. I just don't have the Kairos.
Not only that, but do you have the UFA team up and running? I mean, that's the whole point. So
I don't have Seer. So I don't.
Yeah. You only worry about it if you're like me, where you're at the tip of the spear, somewhat, and you're like, okay, I got to keep these characters and teams going. Now, for me, it makes sense to get Malakos. I've got the UFA team. I unlocked Jedi Cal. It's like, even before I do all the stuff for GLA, Malakos is getting his stuff. I am going to be, after I finish a couple more relics on the Night Sisters, it's all hoarding for Malakos. Omicron's a whole work. I have seen that kit. That is one of the most disgusting kits I have ever read. That dude is going to be game changing. I'm just saying, he's going to be really crazy on the UFA team.
For the purposes of legal regions, can I point out when Ranger says he'll be game changing, that is minus the bugs that he will undoubtedly be launched with.
Right. So after they fix the bugs, yes.
When we say game changing, we mean
when he works
in 3 months after he's launched. He will start to be game changing, and that's part of my problem. Is that okay? So you're saying, hang on, we've got to get these people immediately like Leviathan, but you're going to launch it with so many bugs that actually it's terrible, and actually I could have waited for a month later. So I think they're softening their own fear of missing out. I think they're softening their own need to get things first time because of the bugs, because of the mismatching. So yeah, I don't think we'll see. I think we'll see numerous bugs. Again, it's hard not to predict it. So I don't think these people will be as game to. It's sad to say that, but I think we have to kind of be honest here with chat and say, look, guys, he looks game-changing. If he works like his kit is designed and his kit is described, But if that's just a literal kind of ace show, then he's going to be not working, so yeah.
That's always in the back of your mind, but I just don't have, like, with characters, it just, there may be a bug here and there, like with the wording of the kit that's just not working as intended or something, and that happens. But I don't really stress about characters and their bugs, not like I do ships. I don't know what it is. There is like feast or famine with the difference between ships releases and stuff and character releases. As I said, Jedi Cal was great.
Ships are more important because they do decide more gags. They do ship shards do have crystals in them, and like it or hate it, ships are actually where the money,
Well, it's where your crystals
what I
come
mean.
from.
It's where the crystals come from. It is where a lot of the wins come from. You see these incredible players at GAC who know every character and have everything modded beautifully and have all the best mods. They go into ships and they don't know what they're doing. And it's a literal ship show. I honestly think that, yeah, I hope, but I'm increasingly getting more onto the kind of well, you don't need it after 3, maybe after 4 is
It's not,
actually
yeah,
kind
you
of
don't
when you
really
need
need to
it.
stress. You know, it
Yeah.
depends on where you're at. Like if you're a vet player like me and you're near 11 million GP, I need Malicos. You know, it adds to my roster and it gives me more flexibility with what I can do, especially if it's working as intended. You never know, right? But I'm pretty confident in the character releases. But ships are important, you know, at that level too. You got to know your count. Now, however, let me just preface this: the ship RNG is atrocious. I don't know what is. We had a fight last night with Heinze. He was using first order versus executor, and he had it ready to go. And for some reason, 8 dodges later, I ain't making that stuff up, on stuff he needed. Now he still took out the vast majority of the fleet. It was an easy cleanup because that's what you kind of hope for with first order against executor. If you win, great. But if you kill a couple of ships, then it's an easy cleanup. But that was the craziest RNG I've ever seen doing this game. 8 dodges. That's not a made up number. And some they had the buff, couple, 4 or 5 of them they had no buffs. He went to do the big hit and missed completely, and it screwed him on winning. So know your ships, but just also know there's some funky stuff going on, and always has been going on with ships with the way they designed the RNG factor in there. I don't know what it is, what the numbers are for the RNG to make that a thing. It always seems like they get all the calls and assists. They get dodges where you're just like, you didn't have any buffs. It's 2%. How the hell did that happen? You know, kind of thing. So, but yeah, we always
And
say
you've got
here.
you
Yeah,
do
go
have
ahead.
random AI as well, where it kind of pulls slave 1 off the bench first and leaves Houndstooth sitting. And you're like, how have you done that? Like it does weird. The AI is strange on ships as well. I think ships
It's
are always this weird. Like I agree wholeheartedly with your sentiment. There's 2 different teams here that are doing 2 different things. There's a ship team at CG and there's a character team, and I don't think those 2 teams have ever met each other, let alone know what each other does. It's like it's so chalk and cheese. But yeah, I take your point on Malikos. I think I'll probably get them, but it'll depend on. I'll probably get red created the 3rd one when I've got Captain Rex up or whatever. I'll see what the second one goes. But
yeah.
but yeah, yeah.
Adahan224, good evening, my friends. This question: Jedi Knight Luke lead, Jedi Knight Revan team counter. Darth Revan. Darth Revan will eat that alive. I mean, I know it's Jedi Knight Luke lead, but with Malik and Malagus on there, even Darth Revan with just Malik will give that team fits because other than Jedi Knight Luke, the other Jedi are going to get feared. And if Revan takes a turn and you may not get the crap on Luke, but the other 4 are feared and you can just eat that team up, just eat it alive. What other teams can take that out? You're gonna make me look again because
It's a nasty one. It's one of the ones that's almost always on offense. I don't know who puts that on defense.
that's
I mean, that's some sort of psychopath putting that on
I
defense.
don't know.
I
Look,
mean,
I
for
just
me,
work here, okay?
yeah, I always, but I mean, honestly, but
Jedi Knight Luke.
ripping apart your GML Jedi Luke team and your Jedi Revan team
That is
is
strange.
kind
I
of
mean, that's a counter
insane.
for SLKR.
Yep, yep. Gas would no. Hang on.
All right, your own Jedi Knight Rev and Jedi Knight Luke team will has 100% win rate. Let me see. I'm just trying to get some. Not a lot seen here, so I'm quite. Yeah, it's not a team that's on defense that enough that I don't have enough information. Everything I've seen has a 100% win rate, but it's like a few battles. Um, Jedi Luke, Jedi Revan. Someone beat it with bounty hunters. That's fucking crazy.
Hmm.
Star Killer makes sense. Easy dubs there. CLS, really. I've seen a lot of CLS teams. JML was used against it. Star Killer, Treya. Of course, Treya makes sense too. Um,
Yeah.
Dr. Afro beat it. Jesus.
Grand Inquisitor seems to beat it as well.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, Reva
But
would
it's
eat.
super
If you
rare.
have Reva, just go in there and eat them alive, dude. Because Reva will beat the shit out of Jedi Master Luke and Kenobi. Um, so yeah, that's a possibility. So yeah, there's some ideas there. Don't have enough information, but just thinking of the counter, I don't know about CLS. That does make some sense because of how that team operates. Probably just shoot
Yeah,
stun.
because of Revan, they're coming back though. So even
Well,
if you kill
if
somebody,
you can trip the savior first hit with Han, because especially if you've got a high damage cron, they're in
yeah,
trouble because you'll get turn meter and you can just target. You can just burn them down, burn Jedi Revan down, or burn Grandmaster Yoda down, and then they got nothing. If Jolie's in there, the kind of thing. You can pick apart that team because we've in the past with some certain Jedi Master Luke teams we would use CLS to kick the shit out of it. So yeah, I kind of like Star Killer. Definitely Inquisitors will eat it alive. So yeah, hopefully they give you some options there. Uh, see here, LBC Rob. What is the kill order on the challenge? I thought it was Treya first, but I guess not. It's Treya. You have got to focus on Treya. She will just stack protection the entire bloody time. And and the higher Treya is, that means they're reviving more and they're starting to ramp more. Gotta focus on Treya and let the AoE splash damage work. I couldn't beat it at tier 10. I just
it
couldn't.
does depend. It does depend how you're doing it. If we're talking about, if we're talking about the non-clone section, then I would kill Sidious first, and
Oh, if you're doing
then
the undersize with,
Talon.
yeah, if you use
So
SLKR, you'll
if
be
if
fine.
you're using a perma kill like Jabba to eat them, or if you're using if you're doing something
Or
that's a perma
C, yeah.
kill, then get rid of the people that are ramping the damage, because Talon and Sidious both were one shotting me, whereas Treya does nothing. So I essentially left Treya to last, um, because she's actually not the worst. But if you are trying to do the clone feat, then good luck. I've yet to do anything more than level 6,
I
to be
beat it
honest.
at level 8, and I couldn't beat 9 or 10 just because I
No
just
fun.
couldn't kill them because of the way it's set up. They would just, I mean, I'd get them in yellow, but then they would revive. And then as soon as you kill one at that level, they get so much of that health back. And then Trey is sitting there and she's getting protection. You're just like, oh my God. It's so nasty. At tier 8 at Relic 0, I was able to output with my damage the amount of health and protection they got back. And I mainly focus on Trey. You gotta control Treya. One, she'll isolate. Two, she hits bloody hard with her big hit and will nuke one of your guys. And two, she's the callus that's giving them all their bullshit back. So you gotta, and you'll see it. Her purple bar just keep going up and up and up and up, and you're sitting there killing everything else, and she's sitting there, all that crap just keep going up and up and up, and you can't do anything. You got lucky, Nathaniel Morgan. I tried it multiple times and just I couldn't get
I've,
past
I've
it.
heard I've heard people kind of work them down till they're all in the red.
And then judge it, yeah.
Wait till they tick through 10, and then spam all the
Yeah,
specials.
try to
The bad bats do have quite a high AoE damage, so you can kind of essentially kill them all at the same time. That's the kind of strategy that I've heard people attempt, but to be honest, you get the second top crate even by beating like level 6 or whatever. So um
okay, give me a second. My guild leader needs me to deploy somewhere. So give me a second, guys. TB stuff's happening live on Jedi Academy.
This is exciting. TV we don't often get to be guild leader standing by.
Well, we got to where we need to, but we're trying to get everything set up for the next phase. So, okay, what did he need me to do?
Yeah, we talked a little bit about the challenge earlier on. I think sometimes recently I'm just getting the two Omicrons and kind of getting like the second top crate or the third top crate and not sweating it too much. I think some of them have, especially this one's moved away from being a fun puzzle into just an annoyance. I also think we talked again earlier on about it doesn't make me want to put more relics in my Bad Batch. It doesn't make me go, oh God, this will make me value
Not
because
for a
Bad Batch at the moment aren't used for anything else really in the game. They're not part of the crate raid. They're not scheduled to be part of the new raid. They're not really likely to be a requirement for anything. So it's kind of like, well, we're not really going to put time and effort into them. So yeah, but that's kind of what we talked about. But yeah, it's not a thing for me. I don't know why we do it.
Okay, sorry, I had to knock that out, get that
No
deployment
problem.
in. I was on hold for that because we were close to where we were going with our stars, and I was like, just let me know when. So there we go. Maximus Decimus Meridius 242 says, question, are we anticipating a fix this week? Possibly, hopefully, creamily, not really. So we're
I
not
don't think so.
I don't. It depends on how bad it is. I just depends on how bad it is, and these looking pretty bad. I mean, when you can destroy the capital ship with the the interceptor, that's a bad bug. You know, some of these bugs are like the days one for profundity is so bad, man. I mean, there's two problems with the days. One, you're dazing yourself all the time, and they're cleansing like madmen all the time too. That's a major problem with the fleets. There's so much stuff, dude. I maybe some of the bug fixes come in. I don't know if they're going to do this in pieces, Aldous, where they're like, we'll take this part first and get these fixed, and then we'll keep
They
working on
did
the
the
other stuff.
major one. They fixed the capital ship one. So I think they're probably working in the big ones down. I certainly think when they do the update on, is it Wednesday? They normally do the update. I think there'll be one or two bug fixes. How important they'll be or what that'll do, nobody knows. And again, I think that's also a problem because without them communicating to us to say, right, actually, we're doing 9 bug fixes on Wednesday. Again, it kind of makes you kind of not sure what to do with your Leviathan. We're all locked into Grand Arena cycle. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think I think there will be some bug fixes, but whether they make a difference, who knows?
Darsign, next question. Do you think there should be some type of legislation for games as they're making millions and billions but aren't held accountable for overpromising and underdelivering for paying customers? Actually, there is a consumer agency that was set up in Congress years ago that regulates businesses. They've mainly been going after banks because banks are notorious for the shit that they do. I absolutely think more it's in place. It just has to be enforced. And the problem is it takes time, right? Because you have the bureaucracy and you have um, also there's legal things and happen. The justice system in this country is slow, but it does come around. And I think just in the US, now other countries like Europe and other places have already taken action against the companies that have been doing, their practices and things of that nature. Like that's where we get the term surprise mechanics that came from a lawyer or somebody, and there's in front of the EU, that legislative body. I can't remember the exact details, but that's where that came from. And they were just like, surprise mechanics, F off, new law. It's like the US is a lot more slower. But if you're doing some shicey stuff, it will come back and bite you in the ass. It really, really will. Ask Wells Fargo and some of those, consumer and some other stuff that new agency has been going after. It takes time, but I do think the laws are already in place. But the problem is that it takes time for the legal process to play out. And then if Congress, once they get to it, will call them to Congress and subpoena them and say, hey, what the hell is going on with this? This is like the steroids thing with baseball, right? When that was going on. It took time, and then change came over time in baseball with the steroid stuff. It just takes time. You have to be patient with the process. The legal system is slow in this country. It's not perfect, by no means, but for the most part, if you're up to some bullshit, you're going to get caught. And if you get caught, especially by the federal government, you do not want to be prosecuted in this country by the federal government. States are different. States is a little bit different depending on the state, but the federal government, it's slow, it's methodical, but when it comes after you, it comes after you hard. So you may get away with stuff for a little while, but that shit's going to come back and bite you in the ass. So, the gaming companies and the tech companies do have a lot of sway in Congress, but that only goes so far, because if they think it's a problem, they will do something about it. And as I said, ask the banks. They had the CEO from Wells Fargo, and he got crucified and ended up resigning because they destroyed him. It will happen. So the gaming companies will have their day where they're going to be in front of all those senators, and they're going to start asking some questions. And there's some hard ones like, what's her name from Boston? I'm having a brain fart moment. She does not put up with that shit. She's the one that helped create the agency in the first place to protect consumers against predatory practices by companies, whether it's banks or other businesses, to have a check on that, right? You don't want too much regulation because you don't want to bog companies down. We do live in a free trade market. But that being said, we need agencies like the Environmental Protection Agency and this agency that is a check on these companies so they ain't up to some bullshit. I always go back to the day in the U.S. And people forget, the beginning of the 20th century, eating food out of cans or anywhere from stores, the reason why the expected life rate in the U.S. and why we had so many problems is because they were using little poison in all the food that people were consuming. Like, horrible, like it's giving people diseases and neurological disorders, and people were just flat out dying. And it was the creation of the Food and Drug Administration that went in there when it was first created. It took them years to fight the big companies, these slaughterhouses where there's no sanitation and using all these chemicals, like just poison that they're putting in the food. It took time, but eventually over time, as the public got more upset about it and the FDA got more backing behind it, they were able to make changes. But it took years, and it's going to take years for this too. So you just have to look at history to see the progress of how this takes place. It goes over time. So there you go. Sorry for the little history lesson, but I think you have to kind of understand the system. You have to understand history. You have to know how how it works. So critical thinking. Got to know this stuff. You got to do your research. Understand how the wills of things work. How things work. That's the big thing you got to do so you understand the process. So yeah.
Okay. Well, let me.
I don't know how it is over there in the islands.
Okay. Well, this is the thing. This is why I think this is a very, very interesting question. So I think my answer is I think there will be. We already have countries like China who are banning games based on gambling mechanics, like SWGOH. Yeah. Those are not able to be downloaded, and those are not downloaded not because we aren't getting a cut of it. It is getting not downloaded because of the damage to social fabric and the damage to what it happens to people. And the big exposure of a game like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes isn't the US market. The US market will always be bought by big business and money. It will always be slow. The issue comes more with the Malaysian market, which is very conservative, or the Philippine market or the Indonesian market, where the governments that run those, they are not necessarily in the pockets of big business. Those are more about social fabric and may follow people like China. I think games like Star Wars Galaxy Heroes could be in trouble in the future. I think I would not be surprised if somebody around the world took a lawsuit against one game, and there's a lot of games out there. I think it was Diablo Immortal, I think, took 300,000 for one character. I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a lawsuit somewhere around the world against one of these games, and that starts to really change the narrative. I definitely never think that will come into the US, but these games... But EA is exposed all around the world.
Oh, and big time. Because of just FIFA, the disaster of FIFA and stuff. Oh, my God.
They are still taking money. But it is playable in China, yes, but you are not necessarily able to download it on a you're not able to download it through the official website. China's a weird place because everyone uses VPNs and everything.
Yeah.
So I do think that America's not the issue, and that's one problem that SWGOH or Capital Games has. Capital Games is very American focused. They don't really have a clue about the rest of the world. None of them are from there, and I can't imagine any of them have ever been there. And therefore, they kind of think, well, we don't care about the rest of the world because we're making money here in the US. We're a US company. I can fully expect I think in 10 years' time, there will have been a lawsuit against a gambling mechanic game. And that will drastically change how things. We've already changed it, and I think you need to put the gambling website. You know how when everything in the game has to have a website that lists the probability. I don't think that's an American law. I think that's a European law.
Yeah, I
think where you have to publish the probabilities of what you're gambling
in Canada
on.
too.
I think we'll see that expanded to crystals or any gambling, because at the moment it's only gambling on money. But I really think there will be a law. And yes, I think that will extend into the false advertising. I think if somebody took a lawsuit against CG for their promotion of the Leviathan, I think you could possibly end up winning quite a lot of money on their promotion of what they eventually sold, and their silence. And I think CG is a classic to be sued. It's a classic to be literally sued for every money that they've ever made, or EA would be sued, simply because their lack of communication, their lack of being able to kind of adjust that tiller, so to speak, to go, oh, sorry, guys, we're working on it. The fact is, since it came out, silence. There's a few bugs, but silence, So I do think that they are a classic to be in trouble if that sort of regulation ever came in. But yeah, I think we will see regulation in the future. Sometimes I think potentially I'll get all my money I've ever spent, so I go back. And EA will end up getting sued for it, just because of just the world and where it's going. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at gambling in this country, and there's a direct, link that you can put between the packs that are in this game and everything else to gambling addiction. But the regulations now in the U.S. it's done by states, right? The states have the authority, but when you're dealing with a company like this, you need federal regulation, right? Where it's everywhere. States control their gambling. Like you look at the Nevada laws versus the New Jersey laws. But if gambling became legal across the U.S., like everywhere, then that's when the federal government's going to step in, So until
the U.S. will never lead it. I think the U.S. is too complicated and is too gambling friendly. And
I think it should be
away.
Yeah, I'm okay with gambling, but the problem is the way it goes about, the way it's regulated and stuff, but it doesn't take into account addiction and other things. So there's a ways to go with it. I do agree that Europe is a little bit faster with their laws and things, with the way they perceive things than the US. As I said, it takes time in the US, the way the system is set up. So I agree with you that eventually we'll start seeing that, but it's going to be years in the future. And there will be comeuppance. I'm sorry, if you do bad shit, you're going to get your comeuppance. Just the way it is. If you're a company like EA and they're already starting to see the pushback and the bad things that are happening for that company with their games and stuff, you're going to get your comeuppance in many different forms. So, don't be a piece of shit.
The problem for me is, yes, it takes time in the US, but it doesn't take time in other countries. Places like New Zealand, who obviously I know quite well, those people move fast because they're not held down by lots of people to check with.
Smaller countries.
Malaysia will ban things very, very fast. Thailand, these people were able to pass laws that this game is in. And if those start passing these laws, I think, but like at the heart, this is a gambling game. And it's still, I even worried whether or not we'd be able to play this on Twitch anymore because of some of the level of gambling that is in the game. But yeah, anyway, sorry.
So yeah, good discussion, but it's just understanding civics, how each country's different and how they do it. Their societies, their governments are set up, how they go about doing things. So I'm more of a understand the world and how it works. Especially with the business and business models, but every country's regulations and things of that nature are going to be different. I just said surprise mechanics, Mary J. But
It
they're
is
going to call it it's
gambling.
gambling.
It's gambling.
It's
It's gambling.
gambling. Yeah.
Gambling. It's basically. Well, I talked a little bit. I was on a chat show and I talked a little bit about it. So anyway, I don't heavily monetize my Twitch channel. And one of the reasons why I don't kind of push that is because I know that the game itself is based on gambling mechanics, and it's designed to attract people who have a sort of an adrenaline hit when they hit a button
Right.
and something good happens. And that is so close to what happens if somebody donates bits or gives. I feel awkward. It's like standing in the middle of a drug den selling cocaine or a bit of a rehab selling cocaine. It's a difficult game. It's something that I think there's a social responsibility to, and a social responsibility understanding.
Call it
But
a
yeah,
hobby, not gambling. I'll
this is
call it
my
what I goddamn feel like, Mary J. It's gambling. You
It's
don't like it?
gambling.
Tough.
It is gambling. Your
Gambling.
hobby's gambling. Your hobby's gambling.
But that being said, it is a hobby and everybody approaches it differently. Like I'm not a big gambling man, period. So I just don't. I look at the intrinsic value of what I'm getting when I make a purchase in the game for what I'm trying to do. But I've seen people spend, and that's fine. But the way it's set up, it's just like if you watch Vegas, it's the same thing. Pushing a button and seeing what the odds give you. And then you just keep doing it, trying to hit something, trying to get that big lucky hit. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than a slot machine. So yeah.
I mean, I gambled all my life, but being a gambler actually puts you in control of those urges, and you're slightly better at understanding that adrenaline hit, the buzz, and being a little bit more clinical on it. So even though the game is based on surprise mechanics, Mary being a gambler kind of makes you a little bit more kind of okay. I understand what's going on in my body and how I feel like I feel. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think as a hobby, the game's fine, but we always try to warn you guys that be smart about your purchases. Now, if you've got the discretionary income, you don't care, fine, go. You do whatever you want, man. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, as for me for Twitch, I gave up a long time ago. People want to do what they want to do, and I'm all for it. They like to have fun with me, and if that's what they want to do, that's fine. I don't really, you know. So I just go about doing tons of shoeies because that's what they want to see, and so it's like, well, there you go. All right. Any other questions? You got a little question with how bad the Leviathan is from 1L73. We aren't talking as much about Datacron's coincidence. You be the judge. Dun dun dun. I mean, we talk about Datacrons all the time. I think we're over Datacrons in the sense that they're trash. We hate them. They're just so bad. This current set with the defense is really making people's lives miserable. But what are you going to do? They're not going to change it. They're going to keep putting it in. We just have to adapt and do the best we can. But we're just going to call it out that they're total crap. I mean, they really
Don't mind them. Don't mind them.
I
But it's
mind
got.
them. I
What I'm
hate watching
finding.
people lose, not because they didn't use the right counter or knew what the strategy was, but they got because of the 300% defense on a Datacron, they time out on a Java team because they just can't kill it fast enough because they didn't have a good enough offensive Datacron to take it out. It's just that kind of stuff that's like, I don't mind losing, but when it's to stuff like that, that's when I go, Datacrons can kiss my ass.
100%. I mean, the most consistent thing, I promote offense in this game and not defense. And I I would love a world where they just got rid of all the defensive stats from Datacrons and it was just all offense. And literally it just meant it easier to kill things. But yeah, so these surprise mechanicking for 300% defense, just tiresome, not fun.
It's just one of those things where you're just like, it very much limits you on what counters you can use on certain teams. And it's made the meta in GC very straightforward for the top tier teams. You better have this team with this stuff or you're going to struggle. You might win, you might not. And if you lose, you're cooked, And
I like data. I have to say, I like Datacrons now in general because they're allowing people to spend money, and
They're
CG's
temporary.
making
I
money.
can't stand that about them either.
Um,
They're also temporary. It's a
yeah,
temporary thing, and we're
but like I say, we are not. We are not giving them the £3,000 a month for their data. So they're making this residual money that's able to pay their salaries and whatever else they do, Hawaiian shirts.
I
We're not. We're not the ones who are funding that, and therefore, I think it's okay because therefore we don't need to have as many marquees. We don't need to have as much kind of. I don't know. Datacrons for me are kind of part of the game. I kind of like them. They're okay. And I'm actually finding now I'm getting more and more Datacrons. Every time a set expires, I seem to end up with more of the set to after, like when I dust them and reinvent, whatever. I end up with quite a lot more. So yeah.
it's very narrow focused. They think they know better. I said I'm a big supporter of CG making money, but the value I get back from me spending should be as equal, right? If I'm going to support this company and spend money in this game for certain things, I should get the value. That's why people are so pissed off at Leviathan, and it's not just money, it's time. You want us to spend all this time in this game, and you want us to spend money in this game, and you put shit out like that, which just shows a lack of understanding of how the game goes. My thing with Leviathan, for example, I felt like they put Relic 9, tested it against Profundity with everything maxed out, and said, oh, this works. And did one or two test runs. And that's what it felt like, because it's like, how did you not see all this stuff happening? Or even if you had tested, not even thoroughly, if you just done some testing. And I can talk about this because I was a beta tester and I knew how the process worked. When I got a new character like Lord Vader, what do you think I tested against? Let's go test against all the GLs and see what the interaction is with different teams and lineups and see how that plays out. And then you see the bugs. Is the kit not strong enough? Does it need to be boosted? Is it too powerful? Do they need to go back and pull it back? What are the bugs? What's happening with the interaction? Is it working as intended? I don't see anything with that with Leviathan. And then that's what people get upset about. You spend money, you get crystals, you invest, and then this is what you get. It's like Datacrons. You want us to invest heavily in this temporary buff that goes every 4 months. And not only that, you have to get the right kind of buffs, because if you don't, it makes it harder to do stuff. Like, what are you doing, man? Give us value for what we're spending. If you want Datacrons to work, then really understand what Datacrons should be. I agree with you, Alice. They should be more offensive. The dodge shit, the defensive shit, it's got to go. But the problem with the offense is that it makes some of your teams that are stronger on defense seem not as strong, like your raid counters or, things of that nature, your raid teams on defense. So,
Well, I think for me, I totally agree. I think there's two schools of thought here, though. I think on the Leviathan, one, the build they tested it on had no bugs, and they're testing on one build, but the game we have is a completely different build. That is possible. The other one is that they made a last minute change, trying to kind of tweak it, and they never had time to actually test the change. I get the impression that the build they tested on had zero bugs.
I don't get that,
and therefore, I don't know.
I just don't get it, because the test environment that we used was, we didn't have
normal build on BlueStacks.
Yeah, it was normal. We didn't have any problems, and it translated most of the times very well to the game. If you notice, back when there was testers, they didn't have a lot of this shit going on. One or two things would happen because, again, no matter how much you test, live environment, more people messing with it, they're going to find certain things that you just can't get. No matter how much you test, there's just only so much you can do and find. But the sheer amount of shit that we've gotten since the beta program
for me, it can't be the same now. For whatever's happened,
something's weird.
There's no way there is these 9 bugs that are basic game bugs. If they tested even one battle on a different, so I think they're testing on a different rig or a different program system, and there's become a split in the path. And they have their test server over here that runs on a different version of the game. And then what we have, I think there's
There
There's
is
too many
something
bugs now.
funky going
There's
on.
something going on. There's
I don't
something going
know.
on. We'll
Eric
never
J
know,
says it's
but yeah,
laziness. That could be the case. Cutting corners,
I don't think
possible. I
so.
doubt it. I don't know what it is. I just don't know how
One or two battles would tell you the
immediately.
level of bugs. So there's no way they tested this with the bugs. So I
Like, how
think they
do
must
you?
have tested without the bugs.
Yeah, if you tested, you would have seen immediately the day's problems immediately. Like, if you didn't see anything else, like if you missed the capital ship being able to be attacked, okay, but the day shit and everything, you didn't catch that. That tells me something is really strange.
Well, just as Rickaran says, versus profundity, 4 minutes you can't den a Y-wing. This is fine. Carry on. I think
So
there's
weird.
like they cannot have tested it in the game mechanic. There must have been a non-bugged server somewhere they now have, and everything's offline or something. We'll never know. We'll never know. I
Yeah,
wish these are the kind of
we'll
things I
never
wish
get
they'd
the
come out
answer.
and say. I wish they'd come out and say, "Oh yeah, we now test a different build. We're trying to fix." I wish they would say that, but they don't.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It's mind numbing. People say I get not as angry as I used to because I'm just more because there's been a lot of positive things. I mean, the game has done a lot of good stuff this year. There's been a lot of good releases and a lot of good stuff, quality of life things that have come out that have made me very happy with the game. But then something like Leviathan comes along and I'm just like, God damn it, not again. It's just like, it's not like, oh, this happened. I'm a little pissed off, but if it was like the first time. But after the second and third and fourth and fifth and sixth and seventh and eighth time that it keeps happening, you start going, God damn it, what do we do? It's more like just really, come on. You gotta work with us here. We want the game to be successful. I want you to have a great product, you know, but you can't keep doing this stuff. It just grinds on us. We're Star Wars fans first and foremost, and we want games that we can play mainly because we're Star Wars fans, but we also love the community that we're a part of because we like interacting and talking like we are right now and stuff. But yeah, God Almighty, dude. I just wish
It's
they would get
frustrating.
their
It
ship in order,
seems
man.
it seems worse than ships though. So maybe it's not necessarily the game mechanic. Maybe it's the ship build that they have on their.
That's what it
I don't
feels
know.
like.
There's something odd.
There's
There's
a yeah,
something
there's a
odd.
disconnect between what's going on with
Um,
ships and the other characters. You look at Cal, and as I said, it was great.
Perfect.
Loved it.
Yep.
The
No
kid's
no
great. The
bugs.
character's
Everything
great.
fine.
He's so much
Yep.
fun to play. I love the UFA squad. I'm having a blast with Marin. She's fantastic. I'm surprised by Tarful. I said Saw's but they can't all be winners, right? I'm okay with that. He needs put him in the background.
Yeah.
But you look at that and go, God, so good. I'm so happy with this. And then you go Leviathan, eh? So it's just one of those things. It's just something to
Yeah.
deal with. So, it is what it is. All right. Question from Darcy. For me, if CG came out and gave an apology and an update each week on Leviathan, I wouldn't be as frustrated as I am. I saved free to play here to get my Leviathan sim star, so I feel bamboozled. Yeah, that's what you feel like. Whether their intention was to bamboozle or not, their material, it's how the perception of the people that are getting the product, right? And that's the most important thing. Customer satisfaction, it's a big thing. It's important. How your customers feel about something does kind of matter. Just throwing that out there, you know.
Acknowledgement, some clarity. Give us a time scale. Even just explain to us what went on. Like, oh God, it was a different ship build. There's been so many bugs. Guys, really sorry. We're going to give you all. We're going to give you all 1,000 crystals. Hang on. We're looking at in 3 weeks' time. We're going to try and fix. Give us something like that. Give us something that is a bit more kind of proactive rather than seemingly put your head in the sand and then go, oh, look, shiny new Endor Han. Everyone buy this now. And then all the YouTubers go, Endor Han's coming to
Oh
game.
man, I mean, I will, but
And then they get distracted by the shiny thing and they move on from the bigger issues we've had, which is this. I think there's an interesting question there from BD. Is it cool to joke around and blame Meathead? I know
I
it's
don't
not
blame
necessarily
Meathead
a question.
yeah.
No, it is not Meathead. It is not Meathead.
He's just putting out what they're telling them to put out. I get
He's
mad
annoying.
at Meathead when he does that annoying shit with Red 5. It's old, it's tired, it needs to go away. Stop doing that. because I'm over Red 5. I don't want to hear anything more about Red 5. I don't want any more jokes about Red 5 until you're going to release it. When he's coming out, you want to do a joke or two, fine. But until then, like the latest survey where I didn't do it.
It was a red background
and
and
it's like,
five. Yeah,
come
it's like,
on, man. Like, just stop it. One or two jokes is fine. You want to poke and tease a little bit. I like the first time he did, I was like, oh, ha, 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 look at Meathead. That was our fault for getting in. And then the second or third time, I'm like, what are you doing? That's what I get frustrated with them about. But anything that comes out, they once that's made, the decision's made, they're just putting that out there. They're just doing what they're told. I'm more frustrated at the higher levels at CG because there's people making those decisions. That's who your frustration should be toward, not the people at the bottom putting that shit out. What are you going to do? I mean, think Meathead has any input? I mean, he does, but once the decision's made, he's putting out what they tell him to put out. Same thing with Crumb, So whatever they do. I wish they would have more communication and more interaction. I think is one of the problems, that they would be more, streaming more and interacting with the community more. But that's a separate issue. But when it comes to like what the decision was to put out information or what was put out, that's a higher level. And I got problems with them and their communication style.
I think Meathead has been terrible. Unfortunately, Mr. Crumness has also been terrible. I think I know that he has a slightly different role, but I think what we're talking on the Leviathan issue in particular, I think it's a technical game build crossover testing. I'd be saying to them right now, guys, you need to put a communication out on your testing process. You need to say, look, this is how we do it. You need to say that there's been an issue in the crossover. You need to tell us what you're doing. But they won't. They won't. They will bury their heads in the sand like they always do. And then they'll release Endor Han, and we'll currently forget all about this Leviathan thing. I'll be excited about Endor Han.
I never forget anything. Like, I'll give you an example.
Meathead's annoying for me. Meathead is annoying.
Well, most of the time, I don't have any problem with Meathead. I think some of the stuff he says is funny, and I get a chuckle out of it. Like when he did, "It's gonna be May the 4th," I cracked up. I was like, "That's so funny." Like that kind of stuff I enjoy. Like when he does goofy stuff like that, because I get a kick out of it. I think it's funny. But other times he just pushes it too much, like with the Red 5 shit, and it's like that's the part that I'm like, knock it off. You want to do like May the 4th? I'm like, cool. Do those funny little emotes and jokes and gifs. Works for me. I like that kind of shit.
Long after this game is dead, Meathead will just be another game as a community manager. He doesn't really give a shit about it. He is not in charge of this game. He's not involved in the development of this game or the launches. He is merely a mouthpiece, smokescreen thing. So it's never his fault. He may be annoying, but it is never his fault. The blame sits much higher up and in a different area.
Brittany, question: when will Cup and Farm Boy Luke be great again? I don't think they were ever great to begin with. Yeah, trick question there, Brittany. I'm not going to fall for that old bet gag. We didn't graduate from the 3rd grade for nothing, Brittany. We're pretty smart here. But I'll give you an example of like me never forget anything. Remember last year we were supposed to have a new community manager, and it was announced that they had hired someone.
I almost applied. Yes, it never happened. And there was an intern to fix cheating that never seemingly did anything. No, I almost applied. I read through the job description, and it was a remote role. I could have done it from the UK. That's the weird thing about the Meathead well, nobody ever got it. Meathead was standing in, but then suddenly seems to have the role. But it could have been remote. So that job had nothing to do with game development.
Oh, you want to know the truth?
Strategy.
I applied for that position. I got to the final interview process for that position. I wasn't chosen, and that's okay.
You were beaten by Meathead?
I don't know what they did. I didn't get anything for a long time. I didn't know what was going on for months. And then finally I got told that, hey, we went with someone else. And that happens. I wasn't upset about it. I was more upset that I was just left in the lurch for 3 or 4 months, not knowing what the hell was going on. But I interviewed for the position. I got to the finals. I was one of the final candidates. Didn't get it. That happens. They went with who they thought was the best. But I didn't get any information about it. And then they announced that they had a new community manager that they picked. I'm like, oh, congratulations on that person. And then nothing from them on any of it. I'm just like, what happened? You know, what the hell? It's
But
just
even if people
stuff
like
like that.
crazy excuses in there, like
Crazy is amazing. I love crazy
yeah,
excuses.
they've got people in there who actually know content creation, they know communication. Um, yeah, I think there's the meathead man. As much as we hate him, and he's doing a terrible job, he is not to blame for everything. He's to blame for the poor interaction, poor communication, not driving that. But he's not to blame for a broken launch or a bugged launch or a game breaking mechanic, or that's not his space.
Uh, Darsign question. I don't think anyone will forget about Leviathan, even if the new shiniest release, as people want what they invested in fixed. No, great, 1,000%. You get a bad
Maybe.
taste in your mouth, you don't forget that bad taste in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? You can get nice things afterwards that you can taste, and it tastes better, but you never forget that bad taste, man.
Well, I 100%. I mean, all the YouTube videos from all the YouTubers telling us I got the Leviathan and it was shit. I look forward to Arnold not unlocking GL Leia on day one, the very second it goes live, but I know he will. I think there's an issue between kind of going, we won't forget it. But the fact is, people are making money out of just being the first to do it. So they're just doing it anyway. And many, I saw a few content creators who didn't normally kind of 7-star ship, 7-starred the ship on their live stream and were like, oh, we're going to 7-star the Leviathan. And then did a video the next day going, well, this was a waste of my money. I hope these people remember. I doubt they will. But I
Great
hope
about
they
Arnold,
remember. I hope they remember.
like I don't do that. Certain things, like I was doing Leviathan because I just wanted, it was ship, and we hadn't had a ship in a year, and I'm like, I'm gonna take 7 stars, and then we'll have some fun. See what I usually don't do that. But I
You
think
make a value decision. I think every content creator needs to make a value decision
I
on what they do and they
yeah,
don't.
the two that I always look at, and because they do a good job of it, Arnold and Playbook. They both always unlock. It's what they do, and they're going to get in there and they're going to get dirty with it, and I like that, because I'm not going to do it. I don't want to make that kind of investment in the game, and it's just that's their kind of thing. And when the Playbook says something, and when he was saying this stuff about Leviathan, I'm listening because it confirms what I'm going through, and he's just saying it when it first comes out. But yeah, I mean, they are very good at, and they have the resources to unlock it right away. And for a lot of people that don't have the resources, I think it's a good tool for them to see it in its glory. How is it working? What is it not working against? How good is it? So that I think it adds value to people that want to invest or not invest. Like, do I need to work on this team? Maybe not even spend money, but like, is this a team and or fleet that I want to invest in moving forward, with what my resources are? But you always say this is a resource management game. So I think for both those guys, that's where they really help the community.
But I would say to everyone, like be smart with what you inverted commas invest in and learn from Leviathan. And yes, don't let that bad. Okay, and I tell everybody right now, if you have 7-star Leviathan and you are bitter, write it on a bit of paper and stick it on your fridge, right? And that is the best mnemonic you will have. When you get round, or best reminder, when you get round to the next thing, just go to your fridge to get a beer and go, okay, Leviathan was bugged to shit and therefore not worth the launch. Therefore, when it will remove the fear of missing out from the next thing that is launched. And that is I hope people, I really hope people retain that and they don't just get distracted with the shiny thing. But I know how YouTube goes. I know how, people just forget it and go, okay, new thing. That's my point.
BD, is she still pretty? LOL. Oh, Crazy Excuses is a gorgeous woman. I think she's gorgeous, and she's highly intelligent. I've been very lucky to have many conversations with her over the years.
And
Really
with people
hyper
like that,
intelligent.
why is it so weird?
But I think she's
Like,
moved on to, she's more of data driven stuff. She's more in that background of the game. But
but she's the one that's feeding the information through to Meathead with, like, here's your data, here's your engagement, here's your. I mean, she's doing an incredible job, and it's great to see her move
Crazy
on.
Excuses is good people, man.
But honestly,
I'll fight for Crazy.
they should have her kind of helping out a little bit on the look, guys, you're kind of not doing a good job. You might want to do a bit more. Anyway.
Well, Helly, look, I didn't get the position, and that's okay. I don't have any hard feelings for CG for that. I don't. They went with who they thought was the best candidate. That's what companies do, and it just wasn't me, and I don't have a problem with it, And I wish whoever that person is the best of luck. It's like,
but
hey,
no one seemed to get it. That's the weird thing. Like, it just seemed to go to Meathead. It didn't seem to be. I don't know if that was an issue at Glue where DSA was in trouble.
I have no idea.
So instead of like, they just went, oh shit, we're gonna have to say, DSA's dying, so we'll just kind of move someone. I don't know what happened, but I never actually officially
that's
applied.
The case. Cool. Just
it's internal. It's internal stuff. It's internal, but yeah.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I mean.
But we're having a spicy Jedi Academy today.
Well, we're just giving our takes, man. You can say it's spicy or not, but
it's a good team. We should do more of this. I think we should have our own thing.
Well, we do. I think we
should do the Phantom Menace. If you need the Phantom Menace lore video with Aldous, where he talks you all about how the greatest video ever made, the greatest film that is the Phantom Menace. Let me know. Anyway,
you've been talking to Calvin too much.
Oh God, me and Calvin to do. We should do a lore video on how good the Phantom Menace is.
I'll do a lore video of why you're wrong. All right. Final call for questions. We're going to start wrapping this up. If you didn't see it last night, I did my GAC last night. And I'll try to publish the video. I don't know if I can or not. But we did it last night. I full cleared our opponent. He has not attacked me yet, so we'll see what happens. As I said, I'll finish in GAC like I always do, 6-3, 5-4. I'll be at the top of Kyber 2. I'll get into Kyber 1, and then I'll get squished back down to Kyber 2, and then we'll be back through this shit all over again. And the next GAC will be 3v3, and we'll have the new Datacron set, and that's going to be crazy because that's always nuts when that happens. So we got some stuff in the next couple weeks that are coming down the pipe. But as we start getting out of here, we'll let Aldous pimp his stuff right before we get out of here. Make sure you go to Aldous' channels and support him. Easiest thing to do for a content creator. Just watch their stuff, follow their channel, watch their stuff. The views matter. And if you can't support them financially, which I know sometimes are a little tough for some folks out there, that's okay. Just engagement is good enough. So if you can't do more, that's okay. Do what you can. But that's the easiest way to show appreciation and love to anybody that comes on Jedi Academy. In First Slow Week, we had some good discussion. I've been born again free to play since the first release of Darth Malak. I may have fallen wagon since then. Does that make me a bad person? No. Spending money in this game is not a crime, and it's not a bad thing. I do it. I get the $9.99 pack. There's certain packs that I'll buy. It's like, it's good value. For me, it's good value. I don't have any problems making that purchase. It's like for Conquest, $9.99. I get it every time. It's like, that means I don't have to go for Red Crate every single time. Gives me flexibility. Got some good stuff. The track up top gives me a lot of rewards. That's going to save me time for farming and other things. Yeah, so it just depends. Everyone's value point is going to be different on what value means to them. But if you spend a lot of money in this game, great. If you don't, great. Still value. It's what it values to you. So yes. All right, Aldous, our last question. Ray Rock question. I'm having issues beating the Galactic Challenge with Bad Batch clone feat. What is the trick? Go to tier 8.
Level 6. Tier 6.
Yeah, go to the lower tiers and just take your 9 crate and just get your Omicron.
Yeah.
Because I have tried it. If you don't have extremely high relic Bad Batch, you just cannot output the damage. Mine are relic 5. My other clones are relic 7 and 8, and I still couldn't do shit against that team. It's horrible. So yeah, you're basically screwed. Ranger, August is almost upon us. When can I give Archie money for charity? You can do it now. Here, I'll pull it up for you, dude. If you want to go to the Tilt 5
we
page,
start next Saturday.
It wasn't working previously. Officially. Yeah, it's open now. So officially we'll kick off the campaign there, but let me see if the Tilt 5. It's still not working.
Next week's Jedi Academy will be on Twitch. We'll be on Twitch an hour earlier. 3 p.m.
Let me see if I can pull it up somewhere. Hold on a second.
Can I just say, I have this week and last week, I've grown a much bigger. Well, no, I always had appreciation and love for people like Ray Rock, but I have a massive appreciation from this week and really grew like the people in this game that devote their time to developing the new strategies, developing new modding, you guys are the real heroes. Not me or the Rangers man.
Yes.
We are idiots with microphones and cameras. But the effort you put in
Think for
to test
yourself. I'm
things.
fucking sexual as hell.
Okay, sorry. He's a sexual man with a camera. But I really
Give me a
honestly
second here.
my love and salute goes out to people like Ray Rock, people like you guys in chat who are testing stuff, who are doing different modding, who are running through these battles like Galactic Challenges like 50 times, who are finding the fact, oh God, use Trail Lead here, do that there. It is, you guys are insane. I care and love for every one of you, and thank you for everything. Ray Rock helped me do the Riva mission. He did actually do all my remodding, and I salute him. So I don't mean to pick him out of chat and say, he represents an incredible group of people. And thank you, yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know what we're doing. You're gonna go with Ray. He is the man. Like, honestly,
why is this not working?
I have never known somebody so patient as Ray Rock who will honestly take time and explain things and like really
Every time I've dealt with
take
Ray Rock, he
time.
struck me violently and called me names. It's weird.
No, honestly, like really appreciate, and I appreciate Ray Rock as a person, but just what Ray Rock represents, the
Nope.
people in this game like Ray Rock, the other however many Ray
I don't
Rocks are
have
out there
Bluetooth.
that are doing incredible stuff. And thank you, Ray Rock. Thank you, everyone like Ray Rock. Thank you, people that try weird stuff. Thank you, people that beat these galactic challenges and then kind of come into streams like mine. Welcome to Sandflies on Twitch. Is a plug. And tell me, and then we can tell another 20 people or 30 people about the new strategy. And sharing this about the community is really saving people money, saving people time, saving people resources. So, yeah, no, thank you. Thank you, Ray Rock. Thank you, everyone like Ray Rock. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And the people like Ray Rock at the 4 million GP, the 3 million GP, the 6 million GP, who we don't often hear from or talk to enough. We need to do that better as a community and just kind of bring these people on because those people are incredible. But thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Give me a moment. I'm pulling this up right now.
No problem. I'm so filling. Welcome to Sandflies if you want to come and learn from Ray Rock. Man's a genius.
Well, it's just being stupid. The chat bot should be doing this, and it's not. It's like, you bastards.
Yeah, what else? We are idiots with. Well, I'm an idiot with a camera and microphone. The Rangers man is a genius. But I am anyway.
Okay, here's the Tiltify link. Why is this not working? Here, let me try it. All right, let me try this. Let me do a test little run here. Ah! Bookmark this
Can I point
again.
out he's a genius, but he can't work a Tiltify link in a chat.
Well, the one that I
Everyone,
had, I
everyone,
bookmarked
hang
it.
on.
Well, it's weird. I bookmarked
He's
it
undermining
before.
his own point. He's undermining his own point.
There you go.
right
There's
now.
the Tiltify link.
Okay,
So
well done. Okay,
yeah, the other link I had, it was going there, but it was saying invalid. So like, okay, well, I bookmarked this for this specific reason. So I just went in and found what the Stream Elements link to see if that was working, because I know when we were doing Twitch that link specifically was working, but that was really weird. I was like, what the hell's going on?
We got there.
So if you want to go there, the Tiltify campaign is kicked off right now. The goal is already there. First person has already donated. We have lots of cool stuff that you can donate towards. There's lots of free stuff we're giving away, or stuff you can bid on. That we have different goals and giveaways that we'll be doing. Lots of cool stuff from the ACS and other places. So yeah, yeah, good. So there you go. Yes, if you want to donate. And also, last thing for the ACS stuff, I got to do some work on my costume. I've got some stuff on the Amazon page that I'm going to need to do the final work for the costume. That's going to be the costume I'm going to be wearing for the kids and other events that we're going to be doing. So there's some things we tested it in Vegas, and the paint job just not going to last. So I'm going to have to do a total rework on the. I'm going to have to chrome it. So, and that's going to take me about a week and a half process to do the resin chrome on there. So if you want to go to the Amazon wish list, give me something off there. There's 5 items left there that I need to do the work. As soon as I just got new chest piece and gauntlets. And in the near future here, I'm going to be doing some more fundraising because it's brought to my attention that season 3 Mando has the gray jumpsuit. I have the brown one. Costume's going to be the death of me. I put up with this stuff and do what I do for the kids. So that's what I keep telling myself when I go through all these things. We'll get that squared away.
Luckily enough, by season 4, the man inside
it's not coming out for a couple more years. So
the man inside the costume that is you will be replaced by Aldi. So I think we'll replace Pedro Pascal with someone different when we get to. So yeah, it's fine. These things evolve.
All right.
He's looking at me going, "We're not putting it." Yeah.
No, I'm just reading the chat. I'm just checking the different things. So if you want to help me with that, you can. So I'm going to work on the armor. I was thinking of getting the brown suit taken in because it's way too big for me because I've lost all this weight. I may raise the fund, but that's going to be like $200. A lot of shooting. So bad, dude. Just thinking about it just makes me vomitous. But I will do what it takes for the kids. God damn it. We got to do it for we got to do. All right. So with that, we're going to call this one done. Aldous, where can folks check you out at on Twitch? Give them the channel.
Welcome to Samplies on Twitch. You guys know. But probably here every week. I do love doing this. I've said it a few times. I love when you ask the questions. I really enjoyed today's episode. I love the spicy questions. We're happy to talk about absolutely anything. And I love talking about stuff maybe that's a little bit outside the kind of obvious, because we want Jedi Academy to be the thing to see, and we don't cover the ground that everybody else covers. That's quite boring. Interesting stuff. So yeah. But yeah, thank you all. Thank you for having me. As always, thank you for being here, and thank you everyone in chat. You guys, you're the real legends. Thank you.
Make sure you check out all the great content creators like Aldous or Kate or Calvin. I don't know why you're not following Calvin or Kate. Well, Kate's been she's been hate hunting, but that's still fun to watch. But Calvin, for sure, he puts out great videos. Scribe Gaming, he puts out great videos. I'm probably going to join him on one of his podcasts coming here soon. So his new little podcast is up. I mean, yeah, the Mad Awesome podcast. There's a lot of good stuff out there. So please support these content creators, make it worth their while. With that, we're going to call it done. So on behalf of myself, everyone have a great rest of your day. We appreciate and love you guys. Remember, next Saturday, we're gonna be doing that 24-hour stream. Let's get ready to rock and roll to raise some money for the ACS. So love you guys. Have a great rest of your day. We'll holler at you soon. Peace out.